You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. Smitty is live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Live from the fantasyfootballshow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
What is going on, good people? You're watching a live episode of The Panic Chamber brought to you by Grindhouse, vintage movie tees and hoodies straight from the attic. And we're gonna break them down in a minute, but first we're gonna take a look at the players we're gonna be thrown into the Panic Chamber, and then after we do the Panic Chamber episode, we will be tackling all of the news of the day, talking about Devonte Adams and his misdemeanor assault charge, what that means. Your boy Smitty told you yesterday, brace for a 1-game suspension at the very least. Brace for it. I'm not saying it's guaranteed or a lock of any kind, but I think the NFL is going to be looking to potentially make an example out of Devonte Adams because, frankly, whether you want to defend him or not, they can't allow this kind of stuff to happen and have him just get fined. I don't think that's going to work for the NFL, but we'll see. He's on a bye in week number 6, so brace for maybe being without Devonte Adams for week number 6 and week number 7. And what's that mean for trading him away or acquiring him? We'll get through all that and more. Let's get to the Panic Chamber version of this show. Super chats. If you super chat, I'm gonna keep all those in order and go through them one after the other as fast as I can in order as they are received. Let's get to the Panic Chamber for episode week 6 episode. This is like episode 7 or 8 of it because we did a couple episodes prior to the kickoff of week 1. But Panic Chamber week 6.
You are entering the Panic Chamber, brought to you by Grindhouse, vintage movie tees and hoodies. You are entering the Panic Chamber, brought to you by
Grindhouse, vintage movie tees straight from the attic, hoodies from movies from over 40 years ago. Godzilla, The Thing, Reptilicus, Spider, all these bad boys right here, and your boy Smitty is going to be giving away one of these. We'll do it on Instagram. We'll probably give a hoodie away. Maybe we'll give away the Spider hoodie, the yellow Spider hoodie, which I have over here, and I'm going to start wearing these now that it's getting colder. So I'll be wearing them during each episode. I kind of have already, but it's so hot in Arizona. I think today I'm going to hold off on wearing the hoodie today. But now that we're getting colder in Arizona, I will be wearing one each episode. And you know what? I kind of like wearing them all the time because I love this clothing. It's amazing. And I think we're going to give away the Spider yellow hoodie. Stay tuned on the show later today to talk about how. Let's get into the Panic Chamber week number 6. And these are the fellas on screen that we're worried about. We're panicking on, right? Are they full panic mode? Are they going to go in the Panic Chamber? And are we going to close the doors on these individuals? Because if they are somebody worthy of closing the doors on, what does that mean? Does that mean you get rid of them? Does that mean you don't trade for them? It gets tricky. And sometimes you can close the door on a player and still want to buy them because the value is so low. So let's get into all these players right here. Let's start off with the biggest name on the list, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, here's the thing. JT is a league winner at his current cost of entry. JT can be had right now at round 2 equivalent value, sometimes late round 2 equivalent value. I've seen people get JT via a running back 2 and a high-end running back, or and a high-end wide receiver 2. I've seen somebody give up not one single wide receiver 1 or one single wide receiver or running back 1. and literally seen somebody get JT. Did we start the Smitty course? 2021 Dobbins, 2022 Devonte, question mark, Rob. Rob, I don't know if you're trying to throw a dig at me or something, but go ahead. You have the floor. Explain yourself. And the super chats will be rolling in. I'm going to be going through those one after the other. Rob, please speak your mind. JT is a league winner. JT can be a guy that wins you a league if you buy him at the right value and right price. And I understand everybody's hesitation. The offensive line, the offenses look putrid. Did you see the game on Thursday, Smitty? Well, JT wasn't in that game. So I think if we judge JT off of a game he wasn't even in, and if we don't account for JT's one solid game in his 4 played games, then I think we're not even giving him the benefit of the doubt. Keep in mind how bad Gabe Davis was looking to everybody when I get questions, should I cut Gabe Davis? Should I cut Gabe Davis? No, you shouldn't cut Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis was one of the best buy lows walking into 2022 week number 5. And people that took advantage of that absolutely killed it. And there's still players out there that have that potential to bounce back. And it's crazy that people aren't seeing the value in JT. Now, I see some of you saying, I trust you, Smitty, I'm going to go after him. Don't trust me. Trust yourself. If you don't believe JT is going to be the guy, if you don't think JT is going to be the same JT at all this year, if you just think that the Colts offense is putrid, they're not going to turn things around, Matt Ryan can't move the football down the field, don't trade for him. Don't trade for him because I like him. There is risk involved in going after JT. There are pros and cons going after JT. JT has an ankle injury right now that was reportedly high ankle, then it turned to a mid-ankle, lower ankle sprain. Then he was maybe going to be okay, but the quick turnaround made it so that he wasn't going to play on Thursday when he may have played if it was more of like a normal type of absence in between games. But the fact that it was a quick turnaround, he sat. Now, could this turn into something bigger? Could a report come out tomorrow? Because JT could practice tomorrow, and then buying low is going to be a lot harder tomorrow. But if it comes out that he's very questionable for this week, and the ankle just isn't getting better, and now it is a high ankle all of a sudden because news is shoddy and news isn't good, we may end up being in a position where he has a lot of risk. And so when everybody says, Smitty, I'm going to trust you on this, I'm going to go ahead and trust you. If you say go get JT, you got to make sure you believe in it too. Don't just make moves on other people's content or what I say or what anybody says. If you don't believe it, don't go after him. You're the one that's got to start your team every week. You're the one that's got to run JT out there or put him on your bench if this turns out badly. But JT for me is highly, highly worth the risk. In 1 or 2 leagues, I play in a lot of leagues. If you play in one league, I personally would take the risk and let my team burn to the ground on the risk of getting JT on the cheap. I'm not asking you to go buy in on JT at his draft value back in September. I'm asking you to buy in on JT at what looks like equivalent to late second round value. And if the ship goes down and burns, if everything burns to the ground and everything falls apart and this injury turns into more and he doesn't end up playing and then it gets worse or something like that, I'm willing to take that risk right now on October 12th on a Wednesday. I'm willing to take that risk because I think it's an amazing risk to take. I can win my league off that risk. I can come in and even in a worst case scenario, unless he gets hurt and injured for the season, like torn ACL, which we can't predict, I don't see how he doesn't at least earn the value I'm investing right now to acquire him. In a worst case scenario, JT's earning what I'm paying for right now. The risk is completely baked into this one. Completely baked in. This is the definition of baked in when you're talking about baked in risk. He'd have to literally be out for the year to not earn what you're going to pay via trade. Is he in the panic chamber? You could say that. You could say that. He hasn't done what he's supposed to do thus far, and he missed a game. But this is, I believe, his first missed game in pros and in college. He's a reliable guy. And I honestly am all in. I'm all in. If I can trade any kind of second round equivalent talent for JT, I'm all in. JT to me is not in the panic chamber. I can understand why he might be for some people. I'm going to put him in the safe zone down here. And you guys do what you want. I'm not going to twist anybody's arm to go on this journey with me because there is potential risk involved. But I love the risk. I'm okay with the risk. Here's a guy that's in the panic chamber named Tyreek Hill. And actually, let's put in Waddle as well. Both of these guys need to be talked about at the same time. They're both in the panic chamber, and I think deservedly so, because they are players that we expected to be in the 5 to 7, 5 to 8, 5 to 10 range. Both of them floating in there. Tua was looking good before he went down. Tua's looking like he may attempt to play again this year. We weren't really sure about that heading into this week. Whether, we hadn't heard much. We had some doctors saying he should never play again. Some people are saying he'll be fine. I think what people don't understand about concussions is that if you suffer a concussion, you are more susceptible to suffering another concussion the next time you get hit in the head or put in the same type of situation that causes concussions or likely to cause concussions. You're more receptive to getting a concussion. You're more capable of getting a concussion. It's a brain injury. The problem with the protocols and how that all played out with Tua is that if you suffer a concussion and you're not over that brain injury, and you go out there and get another brain injury on top of your brain not being healed from the first injury, it's not a matter of like, okay, you sprain your ankle, right? You go out there with your ankle, you sprain your ankle, and you have swelling, it's inflamed, it's sore, you have no explosion. You go out a little too early, you re-sprain it. Now you're kind of set back. Now you got to start over on your healing process, but it still could be okay. You could still be 100% from it unless you suffer some kind of break or some kind of crazy ankle injury or tendons are involved. A normal ankle injury. You re-sprain it, you're probably setting yourself back a little further back. Like you have a high ankle sprain and you re-injure it. You're most likely not only going back to ground zero, you're probably likely out even more time because you caused even more damage on an injured ankle. A lot of people take that into the concussion thinking and say, oh, it's probably the same thing, right? You have a concussion, you get another one, it just sets you back. No, if the reason the protocols are in place is if you suffer a concussion, a brain injury, while you're still in concussive state and you have the brain injury, you're potentially putting yourself in a position where you're never going to play football again because you get hit on the head. You're going to get a concussion like that now. It's not like you just heal back. You're putting your brain in such a vulnerable state that you may never recover from. And it's the risk of CTE and other issues that a lot of people don't even understand. Even the medical profession doesn't even fully have a grasp on what this could do. Like Tua playing football, period, on top of the two brain injuries back to back. Even if, let's say, he never suffered a concussion again, Tua getting hit and just the normal abuse that a quarterback's going to take with his head injuries that he has may cause some kind of thing we can't even fathom right now. Even if he doesn't suffer another concussion, what is his brain? What's the state of his brain? Point being, we don't know if Tua's fully coming back. We don't know if Tua steps on the field, takes one hit, and is on the ground again, and we're all like, oh my God, he's down again. He's done. He's done. If Tua goes out there, gets hit, it rolls around on the ground, which is, I could see it now, unfortunately. And prayers up for him, and I hope this is not true. But if he goes out there and takes one bad hit and is rolling around on the ground, then we know. He should have never been out there at all the rest of the season. And it's unfortunate that the NFL and the Miami Dolphins pretended they didn't know that Tua was concussed in the first game and walked in a short week, came in, got concussed again. And everybody's looking the other way. And people aren't even blaming the NFL as much as they should be blaming the NFL. We all have eyeballs. We all saw what was going on. Tua definitely was concussed. Everybody knows it. And he shouldn't have been out there. We are in full panic mode because we don't know what that quarterback situation looks like walking into the remainder of the season. And in the immediate future. Just because Tua's on the field throwing the ball around doesn't mean he's walking into the next game after this game and playing. We don't know. Waddle's touchdown opportunities have diminished. Tyreek Hill's touchdown opportunities have diminished. Maybe Tyreek Hill's going to somehow get the yardage, the runs, the attempts, the looks. Maybe Waddle and him rotate having those kind of games, but it's hard for me to imagine both of these guys living inside even the top 12 go forward. And if I own Waddle, I'm trading him now. If I own Tyreek Hill, I'm trading him now. You can go in and get one of these guys, get rid of one of these guys for a very, very nice package that is going to feel, in hindsight, very, very safe when you look back on this thing and say, man, you know, I stepped into a Jamar Chase using Tyreek Hill, or I stepped into a Higgins and a potential running back. Or let's say you go across position, you get an Aaron Jones and a Pittman for a Tyreek Hill, or you take Waddle and turn him into think about things before they develop. Look how good Stevenson would have been as an additive in a trade last week. How good Kenneth Walker would have been, and Kenneth Walker would have been thrown into a deal prior to last week. Gabe Davis 1 week and a half ago would have been thrown into a deal like he was nothing. And the one guy I feel like is dressed up a lot like Gabe Davis was walking into week number 5, walking into week 6, the guy that reminds me so much of Gabe Davis's lowered value, everybody looking the other way, he's garbage, he's trash, I have no patience, what have you done for me lately? Gabe Davis is trash, Gabe Davis is a big waste and a bust. And I'm sitting here scratching my head saying, why isn't everybody on top of getting Gabe Davis now before he bounces back? Gabe Davis bounces back, now he's untouchable, and deservedly so. He's a low-end wide receiver 1 or an elite wide receiver 2 at the very least. There is one guy that feels a lot like that, and it's Michael Pittman, a guy I told you all not to draft high because of the potential slow start or busting potential that he could have. Maybe the offense doesn't move the football down the field. People were drafting Pittman at the end of round 2, in some cases top of round 3. It was madness. But guess what I'm here for? Foreclosure season. When players are foreclosed on, when owners are foreclosing on their players, and you could come in and walk in and have a foreclosure buyout where you're taking a guy like Pittman at throw-in value, you're winning, you're potentially setting yourself up to win a league. You trade Hill for a little bit lower player and you get Pittman thrown in. You could probably, like I said, trade Tyreek Hill for Aaron Jones and get Pittman thrown in. You could probably trade Tyreek Hill for T. Higgins or maybe even more, A.J. Brown, and get someone thrown in. You could get A.J. Dillon and a much bigger wide receiver than Higgins for Hill, potentially, and you just get Dillon thrown in. There's so many opportunities, Pittman being my favorite, to add into a trade, and boom, you get out of this situation. Am I panicked on Waddle and Tyreek Hill at the expectation level and value they had prior to the Tua injury? Absolutely. And for that reason, I'm out and I'm selling as fast as I can. As fast as I can. So those guys are in the panic chamber. T. Higgins in the panic chamber. Joe Mixon, the entire Bengal offense is in the panic chamber. And it's sad to say, but let me tell you something. Whenever there's an opportunity like this to buy low, and you're buying at value where people are absolutely freaking out and giving these players away rounds later than their draft day value equivalent. You're going in and you're getting Jamar Chase not at 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 overall type value equivalent. You're going into the bottom of round 2, in some cases top of round 3. In some cases, you're getting a guy that doesn't belong to be valued at second round value. He's really a third or fourth round value. You can come in and grab Jamar Chase and walk away with a steal. Do I take Jamar Chase and Pittman over Tyreek Hill? Absolutely. Do I trade a guy that's not in the panic chamber at all, a guy like maybe Stephon Diggs, and get Jamar Chase and another big player, impact player that's got Gabe Davis turnaround capability, Ramondre Stevenson turnaround capability, Kenneth Walker turnaround capability, maybe a Jamar Chase and an ETN, maybe a Pittman, as I said, in a Jamar Chase for a Diggs, somebody that is doing well. And you might say, Smitty, why would I trade a Diggs? Why would I trade a Cooper Kupp? Why would I trade anybody that's doing well? Because it is all about buying low and selling high. It's all about buying low and selling high. Everything is about buying low and selling high. If you're not buying low and selling high, you're not improving your team. There's always an opportunity to sell a guy you don't want to sell that's popping off to improve your team. If you're closed-minded and won't even entertain a Cooper Kupp offer, you won't even entertain trading Barkley, you're not making the best decision as an owner of your team to just block out every single offer that comes your way. And if you're losing, if you've got only 3 or 2 or especially 1 or 0 wins, and you've got a guy like Barkley or Diggs or Cooper Kupp doing very well for you, clearly you've been hit by injury or busting players that have held you back, and you have to make a move because you're not even playing for second place. I often say if you're playing for second place, you got to make a move. You might not even be playing for second place. Your team might be doing so bad because of injury and a player busting here or there. You might need to make a trade. And if you're incapable of seeing the logic of trading a Barkley away if your team's not winning, or trading a Diggs away if your team's not winning, trading a Justin Jefferson away because your team's not winning, you're going to miss an opportunity to improve your team and not so much look at, I love watching this player on Sunday, Smitty. You got to win. It's all about winning. It's all about getting into the playoffs, marching through and winning that championship, getting that prize money and doing your thing, getting your name on the trophy and taking people to school. And if you don't know how to recognize whether your team's got the juice to go forward, then that's on you. I'm here to try and walk you through it the best I can. All 4 of these guys are in the panic chamber. The guys, I'm buying all 4 if the price is right. Mixon worries me the most, but I do believe there's an opportunity to come in and buy Mixon, but it's got to be the right price. It's got to be just the right value. It's got to be something that is like you're trading, a J-Rob and a wide receiver that you picked up that's doing really well, and you can get Mixon. Or you're trading a J-Rob and something else that you can't use. Curtis Samuel, I've seen people trade Curtis Samuel and J-Rob for Mixon. I've seen people trade Mostert, who's already banged up, for Mixon. I've seen people trade a tight end like Hawkinson for Mixon because they've got Taysom Hill and they've got other tight ends even on their roster that they got Everett, they've got Taysom Hill, they got Hawkinson. Go get a Mixon. Mixon's worth it in that context. If you don't buy Mixon at that value, then you don't understand the buy low and sell high mentality. Because I don't want Mixon if I drafted him at first round or top of second round value. I don't like that value. I would have already gotten out if I had done that, which I didn't. I was never really high on Mixon. I admit I was a little bit of a year early jumping off of the Mixon train. Last year he did very well. What I feared happening this year is what I feared actually kickstarting last year. But I do feel like there's still an opportunity to go get him. There's still an opportunity to go get him, if not just to trade him, to flip him. If you can get Mixon from a freaking out owner and get him for a Curtis Samuel and a J-Rob, and J-Rob is going to be going down and down and down, I believe, because I think ETN's going up and up and up. If you don't see the value in, even if you don't like Mixon, the value in acquiring Mixon to then do your next trade. Because I'll tell you what, if you're trading away a guy like, let's say, CeeDee Lamb, and you're trying to give you tell me what sounds better. In fact, let's go to the table. You tell me what sounds better. Lamb and J-Rob and Samuel. Curtis Samuel. 4-player. Of course. 4-player. Or does this sound better? Lamb and Mixon for said player. What do you think is going to bring you a bigger return? I'll answer it for you. The answer is this. Someone's going to take a gamble on a Lamb and Mixon package over this package all day long. This package is going to get you something massive right here. This could get you something where you're reaching for the stars. This is going to get you not much better than Lamb. These aren't that good of kickers to people in a trade. So my whole point is go acquire Mixon because of what he can get you in a trade. So are these guys in the panic chamber? Absolutely. Go get Jamar Chase on the cheap. He's a second-round pick right now, equivalent via trade. That's phenomenal. That package is in every bit of risk that's involved. And if you don't think that Jamar Chase has baked in risk for second round and late second round at that equivalent value, I can't help you. Because Jamar Chase, maybe he's inconsistent, maybe he's busted on you all year long and you own him and you're pissed off. But if you go selling him away for some kind of wide receiver 2, or you go buy some running back and wide receiver combo that really doesn't make your team any better, you're freaking out and having a knee-jerk reaction, and you don't understand how to buy low and sell high. I'm going after Burrow if the price is right, because you don't have to pay anywhere close to the value that you paid on draft day. Is he disappointing me? Absolutely. Will he bounce back? I do believe he will. Will Higgins bounce back? I worry about injury, but because he missed last week's game essentially, and there's no real word that this was going to play out the way it did, his owners are furious. His owners don't trust him right now. His owners are willing to send him packing for the right price. 2-for-1s will get you your one Higgins for your 2 players. People are freaking out. 2-for-1s will get you Jamar Chase, or you could take your bigger player like a Diggs or Cup or whatever and get Chase and an additional player like Pittman or a running back potentially. You could have got a Walker last week if you were buying low and selling high properly on Jamar Chase using your Diggs or whoever. You could have traded into Chase and got a Kenny Walker. You could have traded into Chase and got a Stevenson. You could have traded into Chase and maybe even you could have traded into a Higgins and a Breece Hall, or a Pittman and a Breece Hall using a player like, even if you were trading away Jamar Chase, you could have got Hall, ETN, Stevenson, and Walker are all on the rise. The problem is you're probably not going to see those guys in a trade, because a trade that you're receiving, you're not going to receive those guys in a trade because they're on the rise and people are excited. The only player I feel like out of that quad, we're talking about ETN, and we'll throw Dameon Pierce in there. Pierce, ETN, Hall, Walker, Stevenson. Probably my favorite, most promoted 5 running backs outside of Javonte Williams. Those guys all have unbelievable stock that's rising right now, like just skyrocketing. I feel like the most attainable one would be ETN. I think the second most attainable one would either be Walker or Pierce. The least attainable of that 5 running back set would be Hall. Everybody loves Hall. People want to overpay for Hall. You would be dumb to not at least listen to people offering ridiculous high ball offers, not low ball, not medium ball, high ball offers for Breece Hall. If somebody comes to you and says, I'll give you JT and something, you might want to listen. Are all these guys in the panic chamber? Absolutely. But am I buying every single one of them in the right context? Absolutely, I am. They're in the panic chamber. Let's close the doors and move on to the next group. A.J. Dillon failed a lot of people last week in London. He has been getting a lot of run, and I think people are underestimating his ability to win a league if he gets into the lineup as the lone starter. And I think people are failing to understand that the value you paid on draft day, he can still very much earn, so hold him. And the value he could return if you go acquire him in a trade right now, he earns you flex value no matter what, in my opinion, as long as he's healthy and on the field, which I can't predict that is going to stay that way. But A.J. Dillon, I think, is set up perfectly as a buy low, hold, use as a flex, don't expect the world. And if Aaron Jones, often injured Aaron Jones, not unlikely for Aaron Jones to go down, if Aaron Jones gets injured and misses significant time or is out for the year, again, something that could definitely happen with Aaron Jones, Dillon would skyrocket into top 10 running back rankings and valuation. Skyrocket. And everybody dogging him right now and acting like he's droppable. People DMing me, sending me all kinds of texts on my text line. Smitty, so we dropping Dillon now? Because I talked him up a week ago saying he's a great buy low. He had one bad game. He's getting 15 plus carries a game the 2 games prior. And yeah, maybe he isn't getting the touchdowns we want yet. Maybe he's not exploding into high-end running back 2 value. But if you give up on Dillon right now, you're going to feel the same way people felt that gave up on Gabe Davis, the same way people felt that gave up on Kenneth Walker, the same way the people felt that gave up on Breece Hall. It's the same song and dance. And I think Dillon is one of the very best buy low running backs you can find in fantasy football week 6 on. And I don't care if it takes him a game or 2. There will be some second-guessing Steven that comes into this live stream, this same live stream this time next week. A second-guessing Steven is going to come rolling in here and say, Smitty, are we giving up on Dillon yet? I'm really getting worried about Dillon. And I'm going to say to him, bro, but Smitty, I'm getting really worried about Dillon. Bro, you are not giving this man enough time to earn the value that he's going to be able to earn you sleepwalking. As long as he stays healthy, he will sleepwalk, I believe, back into the value you paid on draft day and the value that you're going for right now in a trade. But if the time comes where he's getting fed even more opportunities, especially end zone opportunities, he's going to absolutely explode and be a top 10 running back. Hold him, trade for him, throw him into trades where you're acquiring him. I'm not panicked on Dillon because what did you pay for Dillon? If you paid something like 4th round value, you overpaid. He was a 6th or 7th rounder. I'm not worried about Dillon. Dillon's going to rebound just nicely, and I'm going to buy him. And I think everybody that laughs at him, the same people laughed at Gabe Davis. The same people gave up on Kenneth Walker. Why was Kenneth Walker on like 40% of waiver wires walking into this past week? 40% of leagues out there. I would say probably real leagues, 30%. I think those numbers are always weird. Probably 30% of real leagues out there. Kenneth Walker, even small benches, and a lot of people are going to come in here, negative Noahs are going to come in and say, you can't be in a good league if Kenneth Walker was out there. Some of these people play in like a 4-player bench league, or you're only are allowed to roster 4 running backs, period. And so there are situations where it makes sense that Kenneth Walker could have been floating out there, but so many people gave up on Kenneth Walker. And you have the same people doubting players that have big play capability. Walking into week number 1, everybody loved this guy. We're walking into week number 6. How fickle, how up and down everybody is. How knee-jerk reactive everybody is. How, what have you done for me lately? I'm writing you off. Everybody is. Aaron Jones, same thing. There's some risk here. As I just mentioned, injury prone. Now, can I like him in the same conversation where I just said that if he goes down, which is not an unlikely thing to happen, go get Dillon? Yeah, because there's still odds percentages on both sides. And if you're buying this guy well outside of top 10 running back value, but we've seen it before, Aaron Jones has either started off really strong and tailed off, or started off very slow and finished strong. He's capable in a drop of a hat of being a top 5 to 10 running back. In a drop of a hat. And everybody will immediately shift over to he's a top 5 to 10 running back. The moment he has a 3 TD game, he is a top 5 to 10 running back. This is how they need to use him. And if you can buy him at the right price, he's an absolute steal. He can be that player. I would say if you're doing well, he's not a great player to acquire. We got 457 people in here and only 107 thumbs up. Please punch that thumb up button for your boy Smitty. We are live. We're doing the Panic Chamber live. We're going right into the news. Then we're going into super chats. Then we're going into voicemails. Aaron Jones is the better go-get player for owners and teams that are struggling. And they need a spark. They need something that is a home run potential running back, that they can't afford to go get the big dogs. Here is a potential big dog that has a lot of risk, a lot of bust factor, but you can get him at a value that absolutely screams, I could be that top 6 to 10 running back for you. Trust in me. And if you buy him at the right price, he probably still earns you back the price, the cost of entry. He's probably still going to get you running back 2 numbers no matter what. And that's good. That's good. That means that you're probably going to get what you paid for, and you're going to potentially get a whole lot more. I'm panicked on him a little bit, but not enough to close the door. Well, let's close the door on him. But again, closing the panic chamber door on somebody does not mean they're not a good value. It just means there's reason for them to drop in value. But I think because you can now buy him at his newfound value, it makes him a potential steal with a pretty decent amount of risk. And again, that kind of opportunity is not there for everybody. And not everybody should be exploring panic chamber tagged players and buying them unless the scenario fits your situation. St. Brown has a little bit of risk because we don't know how bad the ankle is. He's going on the bye week. He came back, wasn't effective. We don't know. We were told it was high ankle, but was it really high ankle? We don't really know. Why is St. Brown, struggling in week number 5? Going into the bye week, will he be healthy? Is Jameson Williams going to take away some of his value? A lot of question marks are present here. But the great news is nobody's selling St. Brown, or at least they're not going to be able to, and they're going to have to come to terms that they can't. Nobody's selling St. Brown for his weeks 1 through 4 value. St. Brown now has value that feels a little bit more like borderline wide receiver 1 value. You can pretty much walk in with a Tyreek Hill and get St. Brown straight up and probably get a little more if you wanted to. You could walk in and trade your Deebo Samuel for St. Brown and get that Pittman we're talking about, or an additional player pretty easily. St. Brown no longer has top 5 or 6 overall value. Memories are foggy, but if you reflect back on what St. Brown was looking like coming out of weeks 2, 3, and going into week 4, he was a first rounder. If you wanted him via trade, you would have to give up first round equivalent, and not just first round, probably top 7, top 8 overall value to acquire St. Brown, and it was justifiable. And I think what I want to tell you here right now, I believed in this kid. He was a moon man for a reason. We have our moon man list that's bouncing back on a terror.
The moon men, dropping loads in outer space.
We've had a few busts on this list so far. This list is not the top of the top. These are guys I identified as players that were headed to the moon, that didn't necessarily have the respect they deserved, so there was inherent risk involved. Obviously, Devonte Williams, we put the prayer emoji up for him. But you've got St. Brown, the sun god here. You've got ETN. You've got Pollard. You've got Walker. You've got the Hurts and A.J. Brown stack. You've got Hall and Pierce. This looked like tough sledding coming out of week 1. I'm not going to lie to you. But this is turning around like crazy. St. Brown was on this list for a reason. And I don't want to hear anybody say that St. Brown is going to drop off because of Jameson Williams. Because Jameson Williams he's a rookie, number 1. Number 2, he's coming back from an ACL tear. Number 3, it's going to take him a lot of time to get fully acclimated to the NFL. Think about most rookies, they can come in and do well, but this guy's trying to stay healthy, get healthy. He won't be 100% healthy all year long. I'm not worried about the impact of Jameson Williams on St. Brown in 2022. There's a different conversation that can be had about 2023 and 2024. But let me tell you something about St. Brown. The reason St. Brown was on
the Moon Men
list to begin with is because he's a dog. This guy's a dog. And this guy memorized every person that was drafted ahead of him. He takes it personally. He glares across the field and looks at wide receivers that were drafted ahead of him, and he takes it personally. This guy is a workout warrior. I know he did get injured, but injuries happen. I think he's going to bounce back strong. His dad's a multiple-time Mr. Universe, trained this man himself, knows how to get this kid going. And I'm telling you right now, I'm so excited about this kid's second half of the season, because I think people that thought it was a fluke are going to be extremely disappointed when St. Brown comes out and lights the world on fire again. And I'm buying him at every turn when I can get him way below what his value climbed to. We're talking about this kid's now a borderline wide receiver 1. You can, in some cases, trick somebody into selling him at what really at the end of the day is equivalent to high-end wide receiver 2 numbers. If you're crafty enough, if you throw a J-Rob in or a Zeke Elliott in, and you somehow find a way to toss in a player that we know is not going to continue to play well, but it's time to get rid of him. You trade a running back across position for a wide receiver, maybe trade a Naji Harris. How do I get rid of Smitty? But Smitty, how do I get rid of Naji Harris? I've been telling you to trade Naji Harris since week number 1. Now, granted, let's be fair. I was into drafting Naji Harris walking into week 1. I admit it. And when we heard about his foot and the Liz Frank injury and the fact that they lied to us, we didn't even know that he had that injury. That worried the heck out of me. And when he got his foot bent back in week 1, it was trade season. It was time to get rid of Naji. And I've been beating a dead horse since week 1. And it seems like some are listening. It seems like a lot of people didn't. Now, you're in a position, if you own Naji, where you don't have very many options at all. You've got maybe 1 or 2 chances left before everybody and their mother starts evaluating Naji Harris as nothing more than a low-end running back 2, if that. And I feel like the best opportunity to get rid of Naji Harris is to climb across position into a wide receiver trade where you're getting someone like St. Brown. And you might find somebody willing to, but Smitty, St. Brown's worth more than Naji Harris. Smitty, St. Brown, you can't get, yes, you can. But Smitty, yes, you can. You know how I know? My text line. This is like an ADP, an ongoing, during the season, average draft position piece of data. I have hundreds and hundreds of text message every 3 or 4 hours on my text line. It's out of control sometimes. The temperature I can take from my own people with the massive amount of questions that I get. It's like there's so much power in data, especially when you're talking about massive numbers. And when I see multiple people per hour asking me about trading Sun God away, what do I get for St. Brown? I'm really worried about him. I got to trade him. I've only got 2 wins. I can't afford the bye week. I have the pulse on what the majority are thinking. I think more than anybody. I don't mean to sound arrogant about that, because this is the key. It's not that I just know. I actually have a reason to know, and it's my text line. When I get 100 messages in a 5-hour block and 40% of them have something to do with trading away the Sun God, then I know that people are freaking out enough that they're vulnerable in general to trade Sun God away at an unreasonable price to them. And St. Brown can be had. He can be had, and the best way to go get him is trade away Naji Harris. Trade away players like that. J.K. Dobbins and a wide receiver. Naji Harris. Trade away running backs that people have some kind of hope that it's going to revive their season. Running backs have been decimated on team after team after team. Over 500 people in the live right now. Punch that thumb up button. We got 161 thumbs up, 500 eyeballs in here. Punch it. Sun God should be bought right now. Sun God can be bought very cheaply in the grand scheme of things. If he blows up going into week number 7, you won't be able to touch him again, because everyone's going to believe it's for real. And they're not going to, right now they don't know. Right now his owners are questioning reality. Right now Sun God, St. Brown, for those that don't know, that aren't in the know, St. Brown, the Sun God, is attainable right now, cheaper than even the concern value that people have had, because guess what? He's on a bye. When you're on a bye week, you are more prone to get traded away, because now you don't provide that owner any value. And if you own St. Brown, there's a very good chance you have 3 wins max. If you own St. Brown right now, please tell me your record. I want everybody to see. Tell me your record. If you own St. Brown, how many wins do you have? Let's take up a pulse of the chat, because it was a big loss. And if you own St. Brown right now and you're walking into another week where you don't have him and you need wins right now this second, it's going to put that owner in a vulnerable position and you can strike and take advantage of it. Am I worried about St. Brown? I'm not. I'm buying St. Brown. He's not in the panic chamber. But as I mentioned, Naji, he is in the panic chamber. He looks hurt. Yeah, granted, see, 1-4, 4-1, 3-2, 2-3. Nice job in the 5-0s. 3-2, 1-4, 3-1, 3-2. We got some of the information flooding in here. 1-4, 2 wins. Most people that own St. Brown got hit hard by him being out. Go buy him. His owner's scared. His owner, unless the owner's 4 or 5 wins, they're scared. Look at the record. So you know that they're trying to put on a front. Oh, we're fine. Hey, nothing to see here. We're fine here in Casa de St. Brown. We aren't worried at all, Smitty. We're not trading St. Brown for anything. We'll trade him for anything? Yeah, we'll not. We won't deal him. What will we give? Okay, we'll take it, Smitty. Straight up. Give me Naji Harris. Naji Harris is a concern. Naji Harris is a big concern. He didn't look right in last week's game. The opportunities aren't there. Even with Pickett in there, this offense looks awful, and it doesn't give him proper opportunity to even come close to gaining his current value, or the value he currently holds, and he most certainly is miles and miles away from becoming the player you drafted on draft day, unfortunately. But there's good news. Like I said, you can trade across position. The vulnerability for owners right now that have 2 wins, 1 win, 0 wins, even 3 wins right now, because people are panicking Peters out there, and a panicking Peter is going to take Naji Harris if his running back room is decimated, and he's going to give you a player across position. And I don't want to hear, but Smitty, then I have a really weak running back too. That's your fault, and I'll try and help you solve it, Bob. But the bottom line is, my job is to try and let you get as much value for your sinking ship that is Naji Harris before it sinks completely. Do you want an A.J. Brown? Or do you want nothing for Naji 3 weeks ago and hang on to your running back so you feel better about your running back room? Do you want a player like Higgins and get an additional ETN right now while you still can do it? Or do you want to hang on to the RB because you need RBs? And Daddy always said you needed RBs. That's what Dad did. I'm going to do it because Dad did it. You've got to trade Naji now. There are options. You can make them happen. You can go get an ETN and a wide receiver before ETN becomes what Breece Hall's become, before ETN becomes what Kenny Walker's become, before ETN becomes what Dameon Pierce has become, or what Ramondre Stevenson's about to become. Now is the time you can get Stevenson and a Pittman, I bet, for a Naji Harris from an owner that doesn't know what he has in Stevenson. Or just pick Stevenson up because your waiver wire pool has so much richness in it because you got small benches. You might be able to talk someone into getting rid of the house's money, which could be Kenny Walker or whatever. Smitty, I've got this question more than any question I've got the entire week from people. And a lot of you are going to say there's no way you can do this. I'm telling you, I have not been asked a question more times than this question this week. It has to be 25% of, probably 20% of the questions I've been asked over the last couple hours. And the question goes as follows. On my text line, where I get about 100 to 200 messages every 3 or 4 hours to 6 hours. Here's the question I got the most. Should I trade Naji Harris for Kenneth Walker? And my answer to that is smash that trade as fast as you can. Earlier in the week, I was hoping you could get more, but it's time to do it. There's no hesitation at this point. If you can get rid of Naji Harris for Kenneth Walker, and I have an enormous amount of people asking me that, an enormous amount, you need to punch the button right now. Kenneth Walker might be the last running back you can get before Naji turns into a pumpkin, and you can never trade him for a value like that again for the rest of the season. And if for some way Naji Harris turns things around a little bit, guess what? I don't even care. I don't even care because I believe in Kenneth Walker enough that if Najee works out, so be it. So Najee is dropping by the second. Are we panicked on Najee? Absolutely. And I don't want him. There are only certain scenarios where I would advise somebody to take a gamble on him because their season's in the tank anyway, and they can maybe get him for the right price and hope that it works out. Next up is Michael Pittman. Everybody freaking out about this guy. This is Gabe Davis from last week. This is this week's version of last week's Gabe Davis. I'm telling you now, I'm literally screaming from the rooftops to go trade for Michael Pittman Jr., a guy I said stay away from on draft day because of all of this that we're seeing right now. He did not warrant a late second round or early third round pick. A lot of people drafted him over and over and over in round 3. He's a great pick, Smitty. He's a great pick. I didn't like it at all. And a lot of you in here remember me taking a lot of heat for it in the mock draft. So I'm saying I don't like it. But guess what? It's foreclosure season. When his owners are foreclosing on Michael Pittman, you get to walk in and get him at foreclosure pricing. And I really believe he is one of the biggest values in fantasy football week 6 go forward. I love his value. Jamar Chase, JT, Michael Pittman, JT, Jamar Chase, Michael Pittman, Kyle Pitts potentially because he's almost free. And you wait on him until Ritter gets in there. And everybody forgetting how good he is. He's trash. He's horrible. Just wait. Just wait when Pitts finally gets going again. If Ritter gets in there and things change for him. But Gabe Davis, this is Gabe Davis from last week. He's just dressed up like Michael Pittman. And everybody out there doubting him at his new current value of steel territory is going to be sorry that they didn't go get Michael Pittman at trash can value. And not to mention, if you inquire about him, his owner might say, no, what do you know that I don't know? I liked him. I drafted him high. Now you're inquiring about him. Maybe I will hold on to him. The best way to trade for Michael Pittman Jr. is to add him into a deal where the owner continues to feel like he's a throw-in and they devalue him. And if, yes, you can go get a potential JT and a Pittman together for one player, it is a fantastic trade. If you're trading a player that might be valued a little bit more than JT, let's say you're trading a Nick Chubb for a JT and Michael Pittman Jr. Maybe you're getting a Dillon thrown into that deal. There's so many deals I've seen that, yeah, on their face, they look like maybe, why would you trade a player like Chubb? Maybe you're struggling. Just because you have Chubb doesn't mean the rest of your team has stayed healthy. It all depends on context, what your league looks like, what your team looks like. If you've got Nick Chubb and you're winning, why try and fix what isn't broken? Naji is there now, Smitty, says the best. I'm not sure what this is referencing, but yeah, buy Pittman right now. Sell Naji right now. Pittman is not in the panic chamber. I'm buying Pittman at every single turn I can. Pittman, you're safe, buddy. Herbert is in the panic chamber. Let's just say that right now. Let's close the door right now on Herbert. He's in the panic chamber. But do I think he's a great buy low right now? I do. He's been injured. Keenan Allen is injured currently and has been injured. His entire wide receiver room has been a little shaky. I believe that this is a good opportunity to walk in and get Herbert at much lower than top 3, top 4 overall quarterback value. And do I think he could turn things around? He's actually scored relatively well in a majority of the games where he's scoring 2 touchdowns. People are kind of just expecting more. I really, 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 really love the idea of trading for Justin Herbert. Smitty hasn't really talked about Josh Jacobs. John, that's because we're doing a panic chamber episode. Is Josh Jacobs in your panic chamber? Why would you be worried about Josh Jacobs right now? He will be on the buy low, sell high video. But why would he be in the panic chamber episode, my boy? We're not talking about that yet. Herbert, go get him right now. We're worried about him, but I think all that concern is packaged in. Just baked right in. And then finally, the last guy on the list, Kyle Pitts. I get it. It's time to panic. I understand. 580 people in here, only 200 thumbs up. Please punch that thumb up button and help your boy Smitty out. I'm going to go ahead and say that Kyle Pitts remains inside my top 10 value players to acquire or pick up in some cases. Check your waiver wire. People are absolutely cutting this man. Okay, John, I'm sorry. Appreciate you, John. Bro fist, bro. People are cutting Kyle Pitts. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Go get him if he's sitting out there on waivers. Trade for him and add him into a trade similar to Pittman. You throw him in. Unbelievable. Some people that own Kyle Pitts might own Pittman. You could get both of them for one player that you may not even be using for a backup quarterback. Go check what quarterback situations everybody has. And if you've got two quarterbacks, maybe you trade your quarterback for Kyle Pitts and Pittman. I've seen it done. It's absolutely amazing. He's hurt now, bro. Mike, what's that have to do with anything? He's a buy low. He's coming back this week to practice. He may play. He may not play. But, Mike, it's a stash. It's a stash for when Ritter gets in there. And if you miss out on it, you're going to be sorry. Because right now he's free, Mike. He's free. And you can go get him now for free. If you want to. If you can hold him. If you can put him on your bench. If maybe you got 5 bench spots, maybe you can't do it. But in some league somewhere, Mike, there's an opportunity sitting there waiting for you. And you're going to be sorry if you don't go back and get Michael Pittman before this problem gets resolved. The problem being they throw for more than 70 or 110 yards. Because that's the problem. It's not Pitts. When people say, oh, Kyle Pitts is trash, what a bust. You look at box scores. That's a box score Bobby. A box score Bobby's going to take a look at the box score and not factor in the facts. And a box score Bobby's going to sit there and go, oh, you know what? Pittman's bad. Kyle Pitts is bad without factoring in the change that's probably going to happen. Oh no, dropping a $20 super chat. Appreciate you. I'm getting to the super chats right after this. This is the Panic Chamber brought to you by Grindhouse.
You are entering the Panic Chamber, brought to you by Grindhouse. Vintage movie tees and hoodies.
And Grindhouse, go to GRNDHAUS. Grindhouse. Grindhouse to get your apparel. It's phenomenal. If you like movies like I do, and you like hoodies and t-shirts, and amazing, I promise you this quality is unreal. This is the company for you. I get so many compliments, and I promise you, I'm not just trying to sell this sponsor. I promote this stuff so much outside the realms of this promotion. And I literally want to wear this stuff constantly. I get so many compliments. We wear it. The whole family wears it out of the house. My daughter can't take off this. She loves wearing these hoodies to school in Arizona. She wears the hoodies to school in Arizona right now. She loves them so much. I swear to you. They're amazing. Go check them out, grindhouse.com. And we'll be giving away, and check them out on Instagram, Grindhouse Supply on Instagram. We're going to be giving away, I believe we're going to choose this spider yellow hoodie. I'm going to check with Grindhouse, make sure we can do that. We'll be giving away this hoodie, and I'll be doing it on my Instagram. So follow me on Instagram at the Fantasy Football Show. Okay? And if your notifications are turned on, you're going to see my stories. We're going to have a contest, a little like, or not a contest, a little like picking a commenter or something. The best comment, best prediction, tag people, and you can get a chance to win this hoodie. All right, let's get to the fantasy football news, and then we're taking all the super chats, and then we're taking voicemails. Let's go.
From the fantasyfootballshow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Adams charged with a misdemeanor assault. I said yesterday when most people were saying he'll probably get a slap on the wrist and a fine. I'm thinking the NFL is going to do something. I can't predict the NFL. The NFL is unpredictable. Roger Goodell's unpredictable. They're the most inconsistent organization I've ever seen in my life for handing out discipline here or there. Ridley betting on football, wasn't even playing, although that's bad. And I actually believe that the punishment fit the crime, but then it doesn't translate to this over here, to that over there. What's going to happen with Kamara? Nothing happens to Kamara. What's going to happen to Dalvin Cook? Nothing's going to happen to Dalvin Cook. What happens to Mike Evans gets suspended a game? What's going to happen here? If Mike Evans gets suspended a game for hitting or fighting with a player, as somebody alluded to on the live stream last night, does anybody really think that Devonte Adams isn't going to get suspended for at least one game for not bumping into a cameraman? For all you defending Davids that are going to come in here and start defending Devonte Adams, these defending Davids, I hope the defending Davids are there for me someday when I need you to defend me, because you're loyal, and I appreciate that. But defending Davids are going to come in here and say, oh, Devonte Adams, the guy was in his way. He was in his way. He just gave him a little baby shove. A little shovey poo. A little shovey poo. Just kind of moved him out of the way just a little bitty. Little bitty poo. Just a little shove. It was no big deal. It was no big deal, Smitty. He launched the guy. And granted, the guy probably didn't get hurt. The guy probably didn't get a concussion. We don't know. I'm no doctor, okay? I only have these all over my studio. But I can tell you, based on the models that I have, I've drawn up a diagram and a mock of this situation. I don't believe he suffered a concussion or any whiplash, but the man's retiring. The cameraman is now retired. Congratulations. Not that I condone what he did, okay? Not that I condone what he did, but let's just at least congratulate the man who just retired, okay?
Mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy. He retired from the sport, and he's headed to Hawaii with his neck brace on right now on his private jet. But here's the thing. The NFL is probably going to, in my opinion, take their time on this because they have the bye week. The Raiders are on a bye. They're probably going to look at this long and hard and think about it from this perspective. The NFL needs a win. And I don't know if they consider this a win. If they do consider this a win, they're going to take advantage of it. And not to mention, if I'm in charge of this thing, you can't let this happen. You can't, regardless of the payday and how the cameraman's taking it to an extreme. I'm not condoning that whatsoever. I'm not on the cameraman's side. But what I will say is this. You cannot allow a player to put their hands on a fan. You cannot allow a player to put their hands on a cameraman or anybody. And this whole notion that only players should be on the field. How are we going to get the close-up interviews and footage? Look, we've had media on the field for decades. This isn't some new revelation where we've got to do something about media personnel being on the field. You remember the band? What was it? The Notre Dame band or whatever, with that college football game? The band rushed the field. Look, we've been dealing with this for years. Just because Devonte Adams doesn't know how to act, just because Devonte Adams does what Mahomes wouldn't do, or Josh Allen, or any other player, or take a wide receiver like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't think Amon-Ra would have done that. I think Devonte Adams, who's a diva, wide receivers typically are divas. They're pretty selfish individuals. They're all about themselves. Me, throw me the ball. I can win the game. You're in my way. I'm mad. I'm going to shove you. Don't get in my way. This is my field. And I don't care if they're trained to hit aggressively. There are players that wouldn't have done this. And for anybody to try and defend the camera, or to defend Devonte Adams, it's crazy. The NFL is probably going to crack down. I would guess, Cal Stanford. I would guess 1 game suspension. I think he goes on the week 6 bye here, and I think when he comes back, he doesn't play. I could be wrong. What do we do with that information? Nothing, because it's me guessing. It's my guesswork. I don't really have anything to support it other than my logical breakdown, which may not be the same as the NFL's logical breakdown. The NFL sometimes doesn't have logic. The bottom line is they can do whatever they want, and they may just fine him big time. Maybe his apology, his immediate apology, went a long way. I don't know. But all I know is everybody's sending me different replay angles. Smitty, on Instagram. Here, look at this angle. Look at this angle, Smitty. You're wrong. He didn't really push him. Look at this angle. Look, I understand what's happening. People DMing me wanting this to not be a 1-game suspension. They're Devonte Adams owners. Okay? I get it. I know what time it is, and I understand it. But brace for a 1-game suspension, because the man launched a cameraman and now has a lawsuit against him. Whether the lawsuit's legit or not, we don't know. But that lawsuit's bad light. The NFL's got a lot of bad light. They don't want this right now. They need to show a heavy hand somewhere. If they can't do it here or here or here, they could easily do it here, and I think they take advantage of it. So, do you trade for him? Maybe. Maybe you can weather through a game. Maybe you can weather through a bye week and a missed game. But if there is a threat of a missed game and you are 4 wins or 5 wins, you can afford to wait on Devonte. His owner might not be able to keep that in mind. going forward. Yes, I'm getting the super chats right after the news right here. This will be real quickly. Jonathan Taylor did not practice Wednesday. We'll know more tomorrow. But I'm still buying. I'm still all in. It feels like he's on track to play. If you see right here, limited work on Wednesday, and it appears, limited work on the side, appears on track to play against the Jaguars. So I expect them to play unless some kind of setback happens. Dak Prescott said he felt great after throwing to receivers on Wednesday. Sounds like they want the Cooper Rush experiment to go one more week. But I can guarantee you this: if the Cooper Rush experiment doesn't result in an amazing day on Sunday, they're going to resort right back to Dak, and that's the way that usually works. But they want to give Rush one more week, I think. So just know that. James Conner did not practice on Wednesday. It's very much assumed he won't play week number 6, and it's going to be the Eno Benjamin show. And depending on how Eno does, we may see more of Eno go forward. We talked about Tua. We talked about the fact that Tua was at practice. But the fact that that doesn't mean anything for next week. He's just out there, limited practice. We don't know what's going to happen with that. Teddy Bridgewater is in concussion. He's still suffering. I don't know if he's in the protocol anymore, but Skylar Thomas has already been named the starter, so Bridgewater is not going to play in week number 6. Look at all these Miami Dolphins. Mostert knee injury, did not practice on Wednesday. There's some thought that, Edmonds could get some run again, but we'll see if Edmonds is healthy and all that. So keep an eye on Mostert. Jalen Waddle was a full participant in practice, as was Tyreek Hill. So they look like they're a go, but again, the quarterback situation is a mess. Now, let's get to the Super Chats. Appreciate everybody that is here. You guys all absolutely rock. You are the reason that I'm here. I work for you. And these super chats are important to me, and I'm going to slam through them as fast as I can. Let's roll through them. Alex with a super chat says, Smitty, I have to make 2 decisions about my lineup this week, tight end Pitts or Taysom Hill. It's Taysom Hill. We don't even know the health status of Pitts, and Pitts is a wait and see. You're waiting for Ritter to get in there. Taysom Hill, he just dropped 4 touchdowns. I told you to start him last week. He absolutely single-handedly won people weeks last week. Absolute smash. On Friday and Saturday night, we were talking this thing up like crazy, and everybody was hitting home runs with it. Just single-handedly winning games because of the Taysom Hill move. Why are you going to put him on the bench now? Because you missed out. That's a natural psychological phenomenon. You weren't there for the first part, therefore, you got to be right about it. If I put him on the bench and he doesn't do well, then I wasn't really wrong. It was okay, justifiable that I sat him last week. That's what's going on in your mind, Alex. Don't break up with Taysom Hill before he breaks up with you. Trust in him. You and him are good to go, okay? Put him out there. James Robinson, Etienne Dobbins, or Deontay half PPR. I'm going to go with Etienne this week. You're not crazy to go Dobbins or Deontay, assuming Deontay's healthy, but I'm going to go Etienne. I feel like the upside is fun. It's a fun play, broski. Russell Wilson, Geno, or Cousins stacked with JJ. I think Geno's safest. I think Cousins and JJ's not bad, but you might be smart to go with Geno the way he's been playing. Ron Navy might have something to say on this one. Let's see what Ron Navy, he's such a Cousins believer. If he tells you Geno, then you know to go Geno because he loves Cousins so much. But I would say I would lean Geno and not worry about the stack so much, because if Cousins doesn't do well, at least you have a shot at doing well. And if Cousins does do well, well, then JJ probably does well, but Geno could still do well. At the end of the day, you're protected. Sutton for St. Brown. I take St. Brown in a millisecond. In fact, that one's pretty bad, bro. And when I say bad, I mean you're getting them pretty good. You got him.
Got him.
King 25, code 428. Dispatch Vito Popo. Popo's been dispatched. King 25 out.
Vito police have been notified on that one, big boy, and they're coming for you. So you better run. St. Brown season is in full effect, and you just got him for a steal. Absolute monster move. Monster move there. Swiss, appreciate you, Swiss, for the super chat. Today I traded Melly. I'm assuming Melly is Melvin Gordon. You know, it's not something I hear every day, but I can kind of sniff that one out. That sounds like a Melvin Gordon abbreviation. So we're going to go with Melly and DJ for AJ Brown. Absolute smash.
You've just been Smitty approved.
And it looks like Dallas has figured out that there's some new custom emojis for the YouTube exclusive members. Can we get some of those dropped right now? In fact, I'm going to drop a couple right now. We've got several new emojis. We got the Josh Allen emoji, which I just dropped. We got the bad trade offer river dance guys. We got the Jalen Hurts emoji. We got the Justin Jefferson to the moon emoji. We got the Vito Popo emoji and the got him emoji. I just dropped all of them in a row. Go check them out. Drop your emojis. And if you want to become a YouTube exclusive member, let me drop that link and pin it in the chat so you can become a YouTube exclusive member. There's a $1.99 a month plan to help support the channel, and then on top of that, we have the $9.99 plan too if you would like that $9.99 plan to get on those Zoom calls. But you don't need that. You can do the $1.99, get all the emojis and access to me a half hour before kickoff on Sundays. We do a live stream with only exclusive members. Drop those emojis. Now you know. Now you know. As for this one right here, now my lineup is Hurts, Evans, Amon-Ra. This is fantastic, bro. AJ Brown, absolute steal. Smitty approved that.
You've just been Smitty approved.
That's borderline. DJ Moore and Melvin Gordon. That's borderline. I think we can hit the Popo button for that one as well.
King 25, code 428. Dispatch Vito Popo. Popo's been dispatched. King 25 out.
King 25, patrol car has been notified. Swiss, you better get going, bro. Better get out of here. Leonard Fournette for Kirk Cousins, ETN, Jeff Wilson, Christian Kirk. I got Mixon and Ramondre. So Leonard Fournette for Cousins, ETN, Jeff Wilson, Christian Kirk. I mean, you could argue either side. If you're a big Leonard Fournette believer, I could understand why you wouldn't want to trade Fournette away. But ETN, I think ETN could be just as good, bro. So I'm going to go ahead and say punch it for all that talent. Get ETN on the roster. Maybe you trade Jeff Wilson away before his value drops. But I don't mind that trade at all. I'm not huge on Leonard Fournette, so I'm going to go ahead and say you can punch that trading and move on with your life. Buy low on Waddle. I would buy low and I would sell. It depends on the context, but I think he's definitely more of a sell than he's a buy low because who's throwing to him? How's that quarterback situation look? Do you believe that Tua's coming back? If Tua comes back, will Tua get knocked out the first play? Because I don't think his brain is going to be what everybody thinks it's going to be. It's going to be in a vulnerable state all year long. There are doctors saying that he should not return. That if he returns, he's just going to get hurt. His brain cannot handle it. He needs a full couple months to get his brain in a position where it's not vulnerable. It's like loose in there is how you get described the situation. When your brain's injured in a concussive state, it's like it feels like everything's jostled around in there. One hard hit, even if his head doesn't hit the ground, just one impact where his brain shakes inside his head. You know, just a little bit from an impact, just getting hit, even if he stood upright. He could be done. He could be in a concussive state immediately. Traded away Melvin Gordon, London for Higgins and B-Rob. I like the Higgins side of that. All day long. Nice work, Aiden. That's a really good trade. This one is from we'll call you Big T. Big T. Non-PPR running back is CMC, Alvin Kamara, Walker, nice running back crew. Rashad White, ETN, nice running back crew. Jeff Wilson, nice running back crew. Jamar Chase, this is like a two-man league. What are we doing here? Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, Olave. I'm taking back my attaboy because you're playing in a two-man league. This is at the sports bar where they give you the sheet and you get to write down and you can check any players you want. This is ridiculous. Pitts got offered JJ and Dobbins for CMC and Wilson. I'd take JJ over. I would take JJ, the JJ side. I like CMC, but JJ's just better. And I think I turned Dobbins and Olave into a running back. I think you might even be able to go get JT, my buddy. Go get JT. First of all, you got AK and Walker and ETN. You could be fine at running back. But if you can get JJ into the lineup with Jamar Chase and Amon-Ra and turn Olave and JK into a JT somehow or some kind of running back, go get an Aaron Jones for JK Dobbins. You're going to be in a better position. I think some might disagree with me. I don't think it's that big of a home run to some people as it will be to others. But I absolutely think it's a deal I would do because I would draft JJ ahead of CMC. Herbert, Running back Walker, Stevenson, Jacobs, Etienne, White, Madison, wide receiver Cup, Diggs, MT, Cooper, Amari Cooper, Devonte. You're 5-0. You're 5-0 for a reason. And I think you don't need to make any moves. Herbert hasn't even balled out, and you're 5-0. Walker hasn't even balled out. Stevenson hasn't even balled out. Jacobs is on a tear. Jacobs is a great hold. He's also a great sell high. You could try and go get JT right now using Jacobs and maybe Amari Cooper. That would be the move that I would try and make. Wolf, before you get into the season, until you get back into bounce back season for JT in week number 6. So go get JT. I'm not saying sell Jacobs, only sell Jacobs high. And that would be selling high to me. And I would definitely take advantage of that the best I could. Or keep him and play him because he's playing great. Jacobs looks good. He looks really good right now. Keenan Allen practicing today. Does that hurt Eckler or make his situation better? Either case, should I offer JJ to acquire P4P, player for player, strongest man in the NFL? I offer JJ to acquire. Either case, should I offer JJ to acquire? I don't trade JJ for Eckler. I like Eckler a lot. He's pretty close to JJ, but I'm not trading JJ. And Keenan Allen coming back, I mean, I don't think it helps him because Keenan Allen's got to prove he can stay healthy, bro. I don't even know if Keenan Allen's like a threat to even do anything his first game back. We hope he can, but I mean, he's no guarantee for anything at this point. I have Burrow, Chubb, Henry, Debo, Chase, Freiermuth, J-Rob, London, Pickens, Gordon. What could I put together for JJ? Honestly, it's hard to imagine you getting him without giving up Chase, Debo, with an additional player. But would I give Debo and J-Rob for him? You could have done that weeks ago. I don't know that that's going to work anymore. Would I give Henry for JJ? I absolutely would. Stevenson could go into your lineup and you could feel pretty comfortable with that. It would be riding a little bit risky because we don't know exactly what his role is going to be go forward. We can just assume. But Chubb and Stevenson with JJ and Debo, JJ, Debo chasing as your wide receiver trio. Chubb and that trio, it's hard to stop. I like the idea of getting rid of Henry out of everybody here because I do worry about the workload eventually getting to him. And if you can get a JJ for that's a home run. Even if you got to give up J-Rob, I'd give up Henry and J-Rob for JJ. I really would. But leaving it alone isn't a bad idea either, bro, because it's a really good team and you obviously have a lot of power there. Yo, Smitty, I picked up Taysom Hill off waivers. My lineup is Cousins, CMC, Kamara, Godwin, Debo. Nice job. I'm going to say attaboy. First of all, I Smitty approve all your actions from this week go forward. But I'm a little disappointed you didn't have Taysom Hill prior to the game. But I, Smitty, approve you and your new team. Great job. Appreciate your super chat. Appreciate you. You are the man, 716. Appreciate you very, very much. Trone dropping a super chat. Trone. Trade Hollywood, Etienne, and Akers for Swift. Hollywood, Etienne, Akers. That is an Olave and Pitts. I'm sorry, you still get Olave. Yes, I would do that. As much as I love Etienne, I love Swift more. As much as I love the idea of Hollywood and trade value that you could maybe add to some trade, giving away Akers. Like I'm giving Akers away. I'm trying to entice somebody to make a 1-for-1 that they maybe don't want to do. And hey, take Akers. Okay, I'll do it. Like that's what Akers holds for me, that kind of value. It's Swift and Olave by a mile. And that's not even talking about Kyle Pitts. Let's pretend you didn't even get Kyle Pitts, bro. I'm still doing this trade. And you're getting Kyle Pitts to boot. Smash that. Smash that.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Who's going to be our wizard of the day? That's going to be the question. Who pulls off the biggest trade and becomes the sorcerer of the day? The current leading sorcerer of the day. Yo, Smitty, should I trade Ayuk and Elijah Moore for Alec Pierce? I suppose, Devin, not the most exciting question I've ever been asked, but I think a kicker question is almost more exciting than this one. But I like Alec Pierce a little bit more. I don't have faith in Ayuk right now. I love Elijah Moore, but we don't know what he's going to do. Alec Pierce is at least looking like he's going to get good work. But honestly, it could go the other direction. Ayuk could be way more valuable than both of them, week 7, week 8, week 9 on, depending on the bye week. The Niners, I think the Niners have like a week 7 or a week 9 bye, I forget. But, you get my point, okay? It could go in either direction. Devin, I appreciate you. I appreciate your super chat. And I don't think that trade's going to make or break you. And I certainly wouldn't make you take a lap on either side. It's very, very Very, very solid on both sides in a very bland way. I offered Eckler and Hopkins for Hall and Lamb. That's very arguable, bro. And I don't know that I would, as much as I love Hall, I don't know that I would do that trade. I think Hopkins could rival Lamb. And I think that Eckler is still, as much as we love Hall, we can't get overly excited, even though we believe Hall is going to do a Hall of a job, my broski.
Get breached. Get breached. Get breached.
We can't get to a point where we're valuing him at Eckler yet. We've got to let him have wiggle room to get there. So I'm going to say I disapprove the trading of, I offered Eckler and Hop. Yeah. It's not that it can't get there, and I love Hall. You know I love Hall this much, but I think it's not the smartest move. I think you're overpaying. Ryan with a super chat. Ryan says 12-man. And guys, if you super chatted, I'm getting to him. I'm blasting through them as fast as I can. 12-man PPR. Hurt, Swift, Williams, Gordon, Murray, Walker, Rashad White, Sutton. Okay. Trade Gordon and Sutton for Jamar Chase. Is that an offer that's really out there? Because that's a smack.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Almost Smitty disapproved because you're weighted if that's really an offer. If you're cooking this thing up in the wee hours of the night thinking you're going to get Jamar Chase at that value, I got bad news. It's probably not going to happen. But Ryan, if you end up pulling this off, please circle back, let me know, and we will celebrate your name, because this is an unbelievable trade if this ends up getting pulled off. Because that's just absolute insanity. This is from Swizz again. Swizz says, 2 days ago, I acquired Kenneth Walker for Keenan Allen.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Like taking candy from a baby. Swizz, be careful out there. The Popo is coming for you, the Vito Popo. I also have an offer on the table. I receive A.J. Brown and J-Rob for Tyreek and Dobbs. I like A.J. Brown a little more than Tyreek currently. Could that change if Tua did come back and stay healthy? Sure. But right now, I don't trust Tyreek as much as I trust A.J. Brown. And I believe you could still throw J-Rob into a deal currently. This may not be the case, 4 days from now. But I think J-Rob's got throw-in value. So I'd take A.J. Brown, then I'd flip J-Rob as quick as I could with an additional player to upgrade something. So I would do it, but, there's arguments to both sides. Some people in here in the chat might say, no way, give me Tyreek Hill. But I'm just not a big fan of this situation for Tyreek. I'm just not. I don't think the touchdown, it reminds me a lot of Naji's situation where it's like the environment's going to hold back the player. And I'm not saying Tyreek's going to be as dud producing, on the field as Naji, but I'm saying Naji's a talent and Naji can't be utilized. He just can't. There's no way for Naji to produce. And it's like Hill's going to be to a lesser degree. The yardage could still be there, but this is volatile. And I don't know that I like it for Tyreek Hill comparatively to A.J. Brown. So A.J. Brown.
You've just been Smitty approved.
And yeah, you have an offer on the table. You receive A.J. Brown. Okay, so I definitely looked at that trade right. Smitty, will you go over super chats? I certainly will, Wolf. That's what I'm doing right now. Appreciate you, my broski. This next one is from Reigns. Reigns says Gabe Davis and Hollywood Brown for CD. Honestly, that's a tough one because I want to get the chat's opinion on that one. That's a tough one because honestly, Gabe Davis could play as well as CD Lamb. Some of you may not believe that. Some of you may still believe that Gabe Davis is going to be inconsistent. Gabe Davis was injured. He had a monster week one. Everybody and their mother loved Gabe Davis. And then we had people right away when he got banged up. Gabe Davis is trash, Smitty. He's not trash. Go get him. No, Smitty, he's trash. No, he's not. Go get him. Gabe Davis blowing up. The same thing's going to happen with Pittman. So I would love to know what the chat thinks of this. Give me CD. I would rather have Gabe Davis and Brown. No, welcome. No, Hollywood and Gabe Davis. No. See, I knew majority would say no. I'm not so quick to say no. I feel like CD Lamb is tough to trust. He's tough to trust. I think he's going to be inconsistent. I think here's what my final advice is going to be. ultimately, I disagree with the the aggressive no's, but I will say that I believe you can get more for CD. So ultimately, I'm going to say this isn't the best deal fair market value-wise, but I do not believe CD is the best hold right now. He was a moon man. I love CD Lamb, but his situation feels very inconsistent to me. And if I can get rid of like get rid of him for like Gabe Davis and Stevenson, or get rid of CD Lamb for a Kenneth Walker, and then you get like a player thrown in or something, or even straight up, I would probably go in that direction. My Burrow, Kittle, Pierce, and Gabe Davis for his Carr, Waller, ETN, and JT. Wow. Okay. So JT and ETN for Pierce, Gabe Davis, and yes, you got to take the JT side.
You've just been Smitty approved.
JT side for me. JT side for me. I love Gabe Davis right now. I'm buying Gabe Davis. I'm buying him. And I know a lot of people don't like that idea of trading CD Lamb, but you get more. You get something different with Gabe Davis. And I'm probably trying to figure out a way to do that deal in a different way. Whiteboard. Yes, sir. We've got a $10 hauler from Quinn.
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy. Quinn, appreciate you, buddy boy. Let's whiteboard Quinn. Quinn says, whiteboard, 10-man. I got Hurts. Hurts, JT, Barkley, Walker. And, Barkley, Walker. It does help if you do the running backs first, and it does help if you give me your best players, your starting lineup. Then when people put like JT at the very end, I'm writing it out. So appreciate you doing it this way. So Amon-Ra, although I don't agree with your number one wide receiver if you're writing it out that way, but Amon-Ra and then probably Gabe Davis are your top two wide receivers, and then Sutton is your third, and then Mostert is your running back here. Okay, so you were offered Jacobs and Mike Evans for Barkley. Jacobs and Mike Evans for Barkley. I'm going to say no on that. I know Jacobs is playing great, and I know Evans is also a very, very good addition. I just feel like what it's going to do. Like, would I rather have Sutton and Barkley or Jacobs and Evans? And I think it doesn't improve the lineup in the way that I would want it to. And I think I'd just rather have I'd rather have different players somehow. I like your team a lot. I think your team is very, very good. I wouldn't mind seeing you trade like these two away for like a Higgins, or better yet, a Jamar Chase or something. I think Sutton and Mostert could be traded away. I think you have Christian Kirk who could be traded away. You have a potential, and you have Walker. I didn't even write Walker in here. Barkley, Walker. That's a great team. I try and move the smaller pieces for something additional. I don't think I mess around with that. Quinn, appreciate your super chat, and thank you. Follow up if you have another alteration of that. Jones, Higgins, and Waller for Kelsey and McLaurin. Higgins and Waller for Kelsey, McLaurin, negative. Yes, positive. Sorry, Jones and Higgins and Waller, right? What Jones is that? That's Aaron Jones, Higgins, and Waller for Kelsey and McLaurin. Actually, I got to think about that one. Aaron Jones. I'm assuming that's Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, Higgins. If Waller wasn't hurt right now, this would be a lot cleaner. But now it's like Kelsey and McLaurin. That's a tough one. What do you guys think on that one? What's the chat think on this one? Aaron Jones, Higgins, and Waller for McLaurin and Kelsey. It depends on the running backs that you have. Kelsey is playing absolute fire. That's quite a lot, but it might still take Kelsey. Terry is due. Kelsey side. Jones and Higgins side. Take Kelsey. Not bad. Kelsey, it's pretty even. I think if you need an RB, this is the side I want to either retain or go get, or whatever side you're on. I don't really care what side you're on. I'm just giving you my stance, because sometimes people word it backwards, so I sometimes don't even look at that. I just give you my hardcore stance on the sides. Aaron Jones and Higgins, if you need an RB, this is the side you want to be on. I think him being injured doesn't help, so it kind of sucks that he's popping off strong, healthy, and you've got these two guys banged up. But Aaron Jones is an RB. If you need an RB, this is a pretty decent side of the table to be on. If you've got depth and you're not worried so much, you got like a Walker or a Stevenson, then maybe you just stick with the Kelsey side and you don't play around with what's working. It also matters if things are going good for you. The day's full with a $10 hauler.
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
Days dropping a 10 spot. Current running back only Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. Lost Devonte, wide receiver Justin Jefferson, Waddle, Hollywood, Devonte Smith. Would you trade Waddle or Hollywood for J.K. and Deontay Johnson? Hollywood or Waddle? I would trade Hollywood for J.K. and Deontay, I suppose. You've got Hopkins coming back. I would not trade Waddle. I think you can get more for Waddle. So I'm going to say Hollywood, sure. Yeah, Hollywood for J.K. and Deontay, but I'm not going to stop there. I would try and flip J.K. He's a starting running back that helps you, and Deontay's not horrible, but together maybe you can get a slightly better running back, or you can couple J.K. with somebody else to get a slightly better running back, or you couple J.K. and Waddle together to go get, something even more massive. So definitely something to look at there. But I think I'd rather have the JK side. So I'm going to say if that's you acquiring it, would you trade Waddle or Hollywood? So I'd trade Hollywood. Appreciate you. Jose, if you're watching, you can dial up on the text line if you want. Okay. Compton says, what should I offer A.J. Brown or St. Brown? I have... who's J.A.? Who's J.A.? I don't know who J.A. is. Somebody help me with J.A. I don't know. JT Swift, Deontay Dobbs. You guys gotta do better with giving the abbreviations. J.A. I know I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, J.A. Josh Allen. Okay, Josh Allen, JT Swift, Deontay. Nobody calls him J.A. I guess Josh Allen's got to be because he's listed him first anyway. Okay, what should I offer for A.J. Brown or Sutton? I'd give up Deontay and Hunt. I'd give up. That's really all you got. Hendy, no one's giving anything for Hendy. No one's giving anything for Cook. No one's giving anything. That's James Cook. No one's giving anything for Juju. It's like Hunt and Deontay. That's all you really got. And I don't know that that's going to get either one, bro. But you could certainly try Deontay and Hunt for A.J. Brown. I'd take it. You're not getting St. Brown for that. Would I trade a Swift for St. Brown and a running back? I suppose, but it'd depend on the running back. Would I trade... You could try and trade Dobbs as well, but I don't even think Hunt and Deontay is going to sniff A.J. Brown or St. Brown. I don't think there's an option here. The only thing you can do is try and trade JT or Swift, but get St. Brown or A.J. Brown with another running back that I really like, and I don't, the odds of that happening, I don't see a deal. I don't think you can acquire somebody that cheaply. Trade Deontay, go after Pittman. Go after Michael Pittman Jr. using Deontay. And try and get him because I think he's a cheaper version and he's going to be potentially a high-end wide receiver to go forward. That would be my advice to you, bro. I wouldn't be going after those unless he accepts that. You could offer it to him, but I don't think I would be dividing up things to try and get A.J. Brown or St. Brown on your roster. You're going to need those RBs and Josh Allen. I don't trade Josh Allen. Jamar or Amon-Ra St. Brown and Kenneth Walker. Give me Amon-Ra and Kenneth Walker all day long.
You've just been Smitty approved.
That's a good one. I like Jamar, but I'm taking that all day long, bro. Simple. Do I trade away JT? Hit that thumb up button if you're just coming in or you've been here and haven't punched it. We got 274 thumbs up, and we have almost 500 eyeballs in here. Do I trade away JT, Devonte Smith, Waller for Breece Hall, T. Higgins, and Amari? Yeah. Probably. JT and Breece Hall, I mean, look, Breece could get that good, but you can't value Breece Hall at JT's level yet. It's just not smart management. So is T. Higgins a lot better than the rest of it? Probably. So I probably lean Breece and T, but this is a tough one, Thomas, and I could be talked into the other side, but I just like T. Higgins and Breece Hall right now. I like JT. I wish you could get more or try and finagle something else out of them, but like a Dillon or a Pittman or something like that. But that's tough, bro. It's tough to say no to that. That's such a good package. T. Higgins and Breece Hall, those both could be top 5 to 10 players at their position, their respective positions. Debo or A.J. Brown better wide receiver rest of season? I think it's very even. Like if I'm drafting in 2 leagues side by side, I might take A.J. Brown in one and Debo in the other. If I had to pick, I would probably say Debo because he's more survivable during any situation and game script. If he's not pulling in passes, he's going to be running the ball. He's kind of like matchup proof. A.J. Brown could be a little bit more inconsistent, whereas Debo's going to get like those touchdowns, those rushing yards, the receiving yards. They're both kind of injury concerns. I wouldn't say that they're injury prone. I'd say A.J. Brown kind of is more so injury prone, but Debo's situation puts him at more risk of getting hurt, so they're kind of equal in terms of injury risk. I'd say they're about as close as it gets, bro, and you could go either way, and I could be fine with either one. I appreciate your super chat. Traded Naji for Breece Hall. Smitty approved. Naji for Breece Hall.
King 25 code 428. Dispatch Vito Popo. Popo has been dispatched. King 25 out.
The sorcerer of the day is Magic Man.
The sorcerer of the day, and he could be replaced. The show's still going. Sorcerer of the day currently is going to be Penny Feather, getting Breece Hall, using Naji Harris. The sorcerer of the day. Congrats, my man. Nice work. Unreal. Hey, Smitty, I sent a voicemail on the Insta chat. Okay, Jack, I'll check that. Appreciate your super chat as well. Racing Boy says, should I try to trade Sutton and Pierce for Jamar Chase and Pickens and ETN? Oh, no, and pick. I thought we were abbreviating there. And pick ETN off waivers. First of all, the fact that ETN is still on waivers. Like, this has nothing to do with you picking up ETN. Go grab ETN and get him on your roster. It has nothing to do with this trade. Like, it's good. It's going to help support you if you end up pulling this off. Okay, so Sutton and Pierce for Jamar Chase. I would rather have Jamar Chase. As much as I love Pierce, I probably would rather have Jamar Chase, but I could be swayed. I love Pierce so much. I could just pull up some more footage from last week and just get amped up and be like, never mind. Jamar Chase or Pierce to the moon. But I love both these guys. And ETN and Jamar Chase is fantastic. You're going to make room for ETN. Maybe that's why you can't pick him up. Your league's so small. You got 4 bench players. I get it. But I definitely love chasing ETN. That's pretty good. So nice job on that. Good work, Racing Boy. Oh no, dropping the $20 super chat. Oh no.
Mashed potatoes!
Yeah, buddy. Oh no, appreciate you. Oh no. Oh no, he didn't include a super chat with it. Oh no. but I can find it. Oh no. Oh no says 2 and 3. Burrow, CMC, Kamara, Garrett Wilson, George Pickens, Taysom Hill, Dillon, Madison, Brian Robinson, Rashad White, Gallup. Reserves, please help. So your best players are CMC and Kamara. You're not going to get anything for Burrow that you deserve, so just hold on to him. Your wide receivers, Taysom Hill's a great tight end. Your wide receivers are St. Brown, and that's pretty much your best wide receiver, right? You got a good team. I don't know that I'm freaking out about this. I feel like the best move for you is to maybe try and trade away a Brian Robinson, maybe a Brian Robinson and a George Pickens for like a Higgins, or maybe a Brian Robinson for a Pittman. And I think that would be fantastic for you. And Brian Robinson could be good, but you know what? Pittman could help you a whole lot more. You get Pittman in there with St. Brown, and Kyle Pitts turns it around. Your running backs will carry you the rest of the way. So I think maybe you just need a small little move like that. Go get Pittman. He's gonna be very cheap for you, and I think that will be an amazing move for you. So go do that, buddy boy. Appreciate your super chat. $20 hauler from the man known as oh no. Let's see here. Trying to find. All right, Ron Navy with a super chat. Ron Navy got Pitts in an underdog round 10 today. That's crazy. That's crazy, Ron. Tony Turley with a $10 super chat. Tony, are you here? Tony, you still here? Tony says, Smitty, that was unequivocally a battery by Adams. He will be suspended for at least 2 games, says Tony Turley. Tony, if you want, I can dial you up real quick. Let me give Tony a call. Let's give Tony Turley a call. At the risk of delaying some of the super chat answers, but let me call Tony. I got his number in here somewhere. Hold on, Tony. I hope I'm not bothering him.
Hi, you reached Tony Turley.
Oh, going straight to voicemail. Okay. We'll try Tony back. But we could Tony, I'd love to talk to you about this. We'll get you on the show later today if you can. Scotty, trade idea. Do you think Stevenson for AJ Brown straight up for AJ Brown owner has Adams and all running backs on a bye? I would take AJ Brown over Stevenson straight up. I would take AJ Brown. Not to say that can't work out well. You answering super chats? Yes, David. You answering super chats? Yes, David. David, I never say things twice. How many super chats does Smitty got to answer? A lot, but we're getting through it, bro. We're doing it together. We're doing it live. Who should I give up for Hurts, Stevenson? I have Stafford, Mixon, Pierce, Walker, Hunt, Chase, Diggs, Hollywood, Bateman. This is always tough when you guys want to acquire 2 players from somebody, but we'll try it. Who should I give up to get Hurts and Stevenson? You're probably going to have to give up. I mean, first of all, who's going to just trade into Stafford? Like, do they have a backup? I'm going to assume they have a backup that they like better than Stafford, because no one's just going to want to do that. They just probably say no matter what you offer them. Mixon is a good upgrade in their mind for Stevenson, potentially. Potentially. Maybe not. Maybe they're smart. Maybe they're astute. They know what's going on. If you don't want to give up Chase or Diggs, that means you'd have to give up. You have to give up Pierce. I wouldn't give up Walker. You'd have to give up Pierce, and I don't want you to give up Pierce. So Mixon, we'll go Mixon and bro, I don't know. I don't know that you can do this. Hollywood Cordero and Mixon you could try, but it's in Stafford, and it's probably not going to work. Past that, in order to get Hurts and Stevenson, you may have to give up Stafford and like Jamar Chase. And would I do that? Potentially. Would I give up Jamar Chase for Hurts and Stevenson? I think I would. I think I would in your scenario, because I don't think Stafford's helping you. But at the same time, I don't think I cut Stafford, because I bet you the waiver wire isn't going to help you any better. And at least he's got a shot at delivering touchdowns to a guy named Cooper Kupp. And there's some bounce back potential present at least. But I would maybe do that Hurts and Stevenson for Chase. I mean, I don't think I'd throw in much more. I traded Judy for ETN. I think that's an absolute smash.
You've just been Smitty approved.
That's absolute smash city, bro. Nice job. Slayer says, I'm 2-3. Gino, ETN, Walker, DK, Samuel, Curtis Samuel, Taysom, Zay Jones, Swift, Pitts, Burrow, Javonte, Rashad White. Trade suggestions. I would say at 2-3. ETN, Walker, and DK. Oh, man. I suppose I would be looking to maybe bank on that Pitts could return this week, or that he could bounce back at least eventually, and maybe you pick up somebody this week in place of him if you don't believe in him, or if he gets banged up again. But Taysom Hill is a great sell high, and if you need to make a move, you need to make a move. ETN, Walker, DK. I don't think I trade those guys. Okay, so here's your... I'm sorry, I didn't keep reading. Burrow, Javonte Williams, trades... Oh, no, okay. So you got Burrow. You could go to a QB-needy team and see if they want Geno. They probably want Geno over Burrow right now. And that's fine. I'd rather have Burrow. I'm just saying, maybe you got some trade potential there. Geno and Taysom... And you throw in a potential... I love Swift. I love ETN. I love Walker, DK. You have a really good team. If you just get a T. Higgins somehow using Taysom Hill and Geno, go to a QB-needy team. See what... If they need a QB and a tight end, it would be ideal. And you could get one player, like a Higgins for Geno and Taysom Hill. You could get somebody like that. They'll overpay. If they're struggling at quarterback, people are desperate. They'll do anything. And maybe giving Taysom Hill is going to be that difference maker for him. Slayer, try and go that direction. Trade day, Burrow or Geno? Here's that question that I'm going Burrow. I know Geno's been doing well, but I'm going Burrow. I'm not backing down from that. It's not me digging my heels in. I just believe in Burrow. I'm not jumping off the train yet. Raheem, Monty, or Lazard. Raheem's banged up. If Raheem is playing, maybe something to consider, but I think you go Monty for the moment. But that could change. Jeremy, Kamara, Amon-Ra, give AJ, Dillon, Damian Pierce, ETN. So you're getting Kamara and Amon-Ra. You're giving Dillon, Pierce, and ETN. I would take Kamara and Amon-Ra. And I hate getting rid of players I love, but that's a good trade. $10 hauler from Zach.
Let's go! Mashed potatoes!
Zachy boy, appreciate you. Yo, rate the team. Lamar, Henry, Hall, Devonte, Pittman, Goddard, Gabe Davis on the bench, Kenny Walker. Why is Kenny Walker on the bench? Can you put him in a flex somehow, bro? What are we doing here? Akers, Pollard, Jahan Dotson, Pickens. Should I make any moves? Yeah, I would make a move. Look, you could get Walker and Hall into your lineup. Trade Henry for JJ or Cooper Kupp. Get Devonte and JJ in there. Get Cooper Kupp and Devonte in there. I'm trading Henry right now for one of the top two wide receivers. If you got to give up an Akers for free, do it. You got to give up a potential. Do you have Taysom Hill by chance? Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to trade Henry because you've got Walker on your bench. I want Walker in my lineup. I want Walker and Hall in my lineup, and I want to go crazy heavy at wide receiver. It's just safer. I love Pittman and Devonte. I love your receivers, though. Devonte Adams, Pittman, and Gabe Davis is absolute lit. Maybe you trade Henry. Maybe you trade Henry for JT. Actually, strike what I said. I like your wide receivers. They're crafty. I like Pittman, Gabe Davis, and Devontae. I'm going to trade Henry for JT. If I've got to give up Akers, Pollard, I don't think Pickens is going to do it. I'm doing that. I'd give up Goddard to get that done, to get JT on the roster. Some might say they'd rather have Henry, but I like the odds of Henry bouncing back in a major way and winning people championships, and I'm willing to bank on it and be fine with that. If you're not fine with that, if you doubt JT, that's fine. If you think Henry's going to outscore him, that's fine. If you think Henry's going to stay healthy, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm okay with that. I won't take offense to it. I won't make anybody take laps on that. It's totally understandable, but for me, I'm going to sell high on Henry, and I don't mean that you have to do it this week. He could still ball out for 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm going to hear people go, see, Smitty, you're wrong about... I mean, maybe. I was wrong about Henry last year when I said he would get hurt by double-digit weeks. I was wrong about it until I wasn't. And then when Henry went down right before double-digit weeks, I had everybody and their mother that screamed and yelled at me saying, I'm sorry, you were right. Henry went down right when you said he would. The only regret I have last year was not telling people to draft him, ride out the wave, and then sell him. But you don't really know when that wave's going to crash. So it wasn't like the safest thing to say, hey, draft him and trade him. You don't know when he's going to get hurt. I feel the same way about Henry. I feel like at some point the wave will crash. But at what point? Week 15, week 10, week 9? We don't know. Maybe it crashes in the offseason. It's possible. Thanks for everything you do, Smitty. Would you be against this trade, Kirk, B-Rob, for A.J. Brown and Swift? No, man. First of all, Cheeseburger, I appreciate all that you do. Second of all, if you make this trade, please let us know. If you're able to get A.J. Brown and Swift for Kirk and B-Rob, number one, your friendship's going to end over this. And I hope it's not with your mom, because I would be ashamed to have your friendship with your mom end over a trade like this, or your grandma. But someone's going to be pissed off at the end of this, and it's not going to be you. Smitty approved that.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Probably the worst trade I've seen. Your mom's going to be calling me up, Cheeseburger, and saying, hey, my son sent me Kirk and B-Rob for my A.J. Brown and Swift. Did he take advantage of me, Smitty? And I'm going to say that offer, Mrs. Cheeseburger, that offer is this bad.
You are offer sex. You are trade offer sex.
I mean, Mrs. Cheeseburger is going to be pretty upset. Pretty upset. All right. Taking grandma to the cleaners is right. Bad sport, dropping a $5. I picked up Pickens off waivers week 4. I dropped him week 5 and picked up ETN. Yeah, I'm fine with ETN. ETN shouldn't have been on waivers. People dropping ETN. What are you doing? What are you thinking? DeAndre Swift was just dropped in my league. I've seen this twice today. Snag him quick. Of course, Snag. What are you asking me that for? Take a lap. On your way, taking your lap for asking me the question, pick him up. Pick him up on the way around. I hope to God you've got like $100 out of $100 available of fab. Or I hope that you're number one, waiver wire number one. This is how you win a league. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets this reversed by the commish because everyone makes fun of him so bad. He'll be like, I guess I made a mistake. I didn't mean to drop him. Can we reverse that? In corrupt leagues, they won't allow someone to pick them up because they'll say it's unfair. But it's all is fair in fantasy football warfare. But that's unbelievable. Snag him quick, of course, Paul. Grab him immediately. You should have grabbed him minutes ago. Also, should I sit the Bills defense and pick up the Commanders just for this week? I don't really. I think sitting the Bills defense is never the best idea. I think the Bills defense is always a good play, but they are playing the Chiefs, so it does make for like a little bit of concern for this week being a high-scoring Bills affair, but they're certainly capable of just scoring points and figuring out ways to. I would say for this week it's not horrible. I do hate Thursday games. They're very bad scoring, but that doesn't mean the Washington Commanders will score a lot on defense or do well because it's low scoring. It could just be one of those 3 and out. I mean, guys, we've learned that Thursday games blow. And you have Washington playing Chicago. If anybody's expecting good fantasy points in this outing, I've got a fantasy bridge to sell you. I've got a James Robinson to sell you. I've got a Naji Harris to sell you if you think that Thursday night's setting up for a high-scoring affair. So I don't know if there's a better option out there than the Washington Commanders. I would trust Buffalo over that. But that's me. I could be wrong. Paul, trust your gut because who knows, man. Tony the Tiger calling in. Hey, Tony, it's Smitty. What's up, my man?
Smitty, how are you, brother?
I'm good. I'm glad you called me back. I appreciate it, and wanted to talk about Devonte Adams with you briefly. And you're live on the Fantasy Football Show, by the way.
Okay.
And so we can't predict the NFL, right? The NFL can do what they want. They obviously are inconsistent. You and I have talked about this at very, very great length. And for those that don't know, this is Tony, the attorney, on the phone right now. They have a heavy hand. I think you even said this, that Goodell's got a heavy hand one moment, he's got a light hand the other moment. It's not consistent from Ridley to what's happened with Deshaun Watson to what's potentially happening and not happening with Alvin Kamara. You had said on the live stream a minute ago, or probably a half hour ago, that you believed that this was a battery, obviously, and that Adams is probably looking at a 2-game suspension based on your educated guesswork. Can you elaborate on that for everybody that's listening right now?
Well, sure. I was just sort of reacting to the question of whether or not this was in fact a criminal act. It clearly is, believe it or not. Adams will probably try to argue that the reporter, I don't know the guy's name, was in a position that was unprivileged. In other words, he shouldn't have been there. Of course, the problem is that the reporters unequivocally got a press pass and was in a position where press are often located, especially during the end of a game. They're trying to catch video or photos of guys walking off the field. So there's no question that the reporter had a right to be where he was. Adams will also probably try to argue that this was an incidental kind of a contact, but in the eyes of the law, that's not really relevant. The bottom line is that he had an opportunity, meaning Adams, had an opportunity to avoid an unconsented physical contact with this gentleman and chose instead to just push the guy out of the way. And when you watch the video, it's apparent from Adams's body language, in other words, his attitude, after the contact with this individual, that he was unhappy that the guy was in the way. So there's no question that it's criminal. The question then becomes, does the reporter push the local law enforcement to go forward? Based on the fact that a bench warrant was issued, it would appear that that's the case. Now, the guy could, of course, always back off, especially if Adams makes some sort of an offer to resolve any civil claim. But there's no question that this incident would give rise to comparatively minor, both criminal and civil liability for Mr. Adams. Now, having said all that, whatever happens legally, as we discussed before, the NFL is all about PR. The legal aspect is certainly relevant, but it's not singularly determinative. The NFL wants to send the message that we're not going to allow our players to get into physical altercations or events, especially with fans and or observers. Now, I'm just giving you my best guess. I got to believe that the NFL, for PR reasons, has to take some sort of an action. I suppose one game would make sense also. My gut reaction, based on the fact that Adams was clearly not happy and the fact that he effectively initiated the contact, leads me to conclude that I think 2 games is more likely. But that's just an opinion.
And don't you think, based on Mike Evans getting suspended 1 game with an altercation with a player, and this is what someone said on the live stream last night, and to me it's the best way to paint this picture, in my opinion, is like, how do they not give Adams at least a game for shoving a worker on the field? And I don't care if, like you said, I don't care if he's in the way. I don't care if it was dumb for him to cross over. Like, it was still uncalled for. And the question is, would another player have done that? Would a handful of players have done that on the field, or is this just Adams? Is it just a certain personality type, a diva wide receiver? Just upset. I get he's frustrated at the end of the game, but it doesn't excuse it. My guess is that it's going to be a 1-game suspension. I said that right after, and a lot of people said slap on the wrist is going to be fine. But I just think that the NFL needs a W right now. I'm not saying this is a W. I just think they may think it's a W. They may think, okay, we can't control a lot of the things happening around the league right now, but this one we can. And honestly, I understand people's need and desire to defend Adams because psychologically they can't handle the fact that if they own this guy, he's going to miss a game after the bye week and have 2 weeks in a row where he won't play. But from a human perspective, you can't allow a player to do this and just walk away with a slap on the wrist. You got to do something that's impacting more than just a fine, because you can't allow this. This is like back in the NBA, when the players attack the fans in the stands, and like, you have to come down hardcore on something like this, or you're opening the door to a PR nightmare. So I think you're right. I think it's all PR driven. Goodell's hard to predict, though. It wouldn't shock me if he didn't suspend him, but I think I'd be more shocked of him not getting a 1 game at least than the other way around.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, based on what I've already said, the one variable here is you got to keep in mind that in the fairly recent past, the NFL has officially taken the position that when there are legal proceedings, they will let the legal proceedings play out before they take specific disciplinary action. Given the date and the fact that we're already in week 6, it's possible that the criminal matter at least may not even get before the court until near the end of the season. And if the NFL chooses to follow that path, it's possible that any suspension would be next year. So that is one variable that the listeners should probably keep in mind.
Yeah, you know what I think though? I think the they may take that stance for the end result, like determination, like of discipline and suspension. I believe the NFL will look at this as regardless of how that plays out, we'll address that when it comes. He needs to be suspended right now as a way of showing this isn't going to, they can, I think definitely in the civil matters, like if there's a civil claim outside of the NFL, like, you know what I mean? Like if there's a accusation of this and it has nothing to do with play or being on the field. This was on the field. This is action that took place during a game or at the end of the game. Therefore, I don't think it's something that the NFL would wait on like they would if it was a peripheral type of situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's possible. And all I'm saying is that has not been their position in the recent past. So I'm just letting throwing out a variable that the listeners might want to know. Yeah, that's all.
So the fantasy question here is if you've got 5 wins, if you've got 4 wins right now, and he's looking at a potential 1-game suspension on top of a bye week, which is very painful for a fantasy owner to be looking at. If they're like the 2-win team, a 3-win team, he's a good go get. Because if you can wait through those 2 weeks, the bye week and the potential suspended week, I mean, he come back on a tear for you and be a phenomenal go get on the cheap. But
Yeah, I mean, to the extent you care about my opinion, yeah, I agree. I mean, in fact, from my perspective, doesn't it sort of feel like Adams is like on the edge of really exploding? That 48-yard touchdown. Yeah. Near the end of the game, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he had an explosion in itself in that game, so I think he's definitely in the midst of an explosion. Who knows what this does to the team? If they lose him for a game and they lose a game, what's that going to do to the? I don't know. We'll have to play it by ear. But I do appreciate you clarifying it. And do you think that this is something that I guess my last question to you would be this. Typically, these things, they don't go down the criminal track if the civil track is resolved, or they don't always, I guess. Do you think Yeah. Do you think that even if, let's say, the Adams and the guy settle on some sort of monetary, settlement value, that the criminal stuff goes away? Because I think it's important for the listeners to understand that there may be two separate cases here. Civil, which is for the money, and then criminal for the assault. If he decided to not press charges, would this go away based on that civil settlement, is I guess what everybody would want to know. As far as the legal stuff. As far as the legal.
Yeah. Legally, you can't directly link the two because at least from the lawyer's perspective, it's an ethical violation to directly link a civil settlement with dropping a criminal matter. Little known fact about the law. But in reality, if there is some sort of a civil claim and the civil claim is unequivocally resolved, especially if it's resolved quickly, the odds are that the victim, in this case the reporter, would be much less inclined, certainly less incentive to push the prosecutor to go forward with the criminal matter. And a lot of times that plays a big part in the prosecuting attorney's decision whether or not to pursue it. And let's keep in mind, let's not overstate any of this. This is obviously an extremely minor criminal matter.
Right.
The guy, as far as I know, wasn't even hurt. He pushed him, the guy fell down. There was no obvious intent to cause direct material physical harm. This is not a big deal, but
right.
Is it the kind of thing that technically is a crime? Yes, it is technically. And this may sound moderately humorous, but you have to presume that the reporter is somehow connected to the Kansas City organization.
Mm-hmm.
And does anyone wonder whether people in Kansas City are somewhat disinclined to like people who root for the Raiders?
Yeah.
Come on. It's the Raiders and Chiefs. They hate each other.
Yeah.
So, maybe the guy will want to push this just because Adams happens to be a Raider.
Yeah. We'll see how it shakes out. We'll see how it shakes out. I definitely want everybody to know that I don't think it's a big assault or any kind of crime. But I'm here to break down what I think the NFL will do and what they'll think. But it is crazy. We live in a world now where something like this can't happen without these kind of ramifications. Back in the day, this kind of, there wouldn't even be a second thought. This would have been like, oh, he said sorry, here's an autographed ball. Yeah, and you go on your merry way. But this guy's wanting to literally now live in Hawaii. He probably retire or he's well on his way.
Well, you have to look at the context. You look at what the NFL just went through with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they cannot afford to allow a precedent to stand where a player has physical contact with a non-player, a fan, and arguably commits a battery on that person, and then the NFL says, well, yeah, that's okay, don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very bad precedent to set, and that's why I think that he has to get at least one game, and why I think 2 games is not out of the realm of possibility. The NFL cannot allow this to just stand.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I
agree with everybody saying it's not a big deal. The guy didn't get hurt, but even he could have got hurt. What if he, it could have been worse. They can't allow this to even happen so that it doesn't create a bigger problem later. So I agree with you. You got to take a stand. So one game, we'll see. Tony, appreciate you calling in.
All right, buddy.
And appreciate your super chat as well.
Love your show, buddy. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, call in anytime, man.
All right, man. Be good.
Tony, the attorney, dropping some knowledge. Appreciate you, Tony. Get back to these super chats. I apologize for the wait. Bad Sport. I think I got Bad Sports. I picked up off waivers. ETA. Yeah, I got that one. This one right here is from Paul. No, this one's from Joshua. Joshua says, hey, Smitty, I'm in a full PPR, I believe. Full PPR, full point PPR. Superflex League. Just got to trade offer for Matt Ryan, Michael Pittman for Deontay Johnson and Brandon Cooks. I'd rather have the Michael Pittman side, assuming that the quarterback Matt Ryan's irrelevant to you. My QBs are Goff and Pickett. Yeah, so Matt Ryan is irrelevant to you, and Aaron Rodgers. I take the Pittman side. I personally like Pittman more than I like any of the players involved in that deal. So I would smash it for the Pittman side alone. That's me. Some might disagree, but that's the way it goes. Matt with a super chat. This guy offered me Kamara and Judy for my Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hopkins, and Stevenson. I'd rather have the Amon-Ra, Stevenson, and Hopkins side if it's me. But, I don't think it's crazy because Kamara is that valuable if he stays on the field all year, and Judy's got some potential upside, but I'm going to go ahead and lean the Amon-Ra, Stevenson, D-Hop side. I just think there's more potential there. Carlos, trade Devonte Smith for London. I think that's an even Steven trade I could get behind either side. Carlos, thank you for the super chat. Juan, thank you for the super. I'll have to look up your question later. You didn't attach it to that, so unfortunately I don't have it in front of me, but I will try and find it unless you send another one. Trade Mixon and Curtis Samuel for Jonathan Taylor. Good trade. Mixon and Curtis Samuel for Jonathan Taylor.
King 25 code 428. Dispatch Vito Popo. Popo's been dispatched. King 25 out.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Yeah, that's what you call a win. That's what you call a win there, big boy. Unbelievable that people are pulling off these trades. JT side by 1,000 miles. You know what? You're probably actually. I'm sorry to do this. I'm knocking off the old.
The sorcerer of the day is
Naji. Naji Fabrice. The question is this one worse than that one? I mean, you guys might share it. I'm going to have you share it for right now. You guys are sharing it. Unbelievable. I mean, people watching right now. This is just like rubbing it in their face when you're able to get these trades pulled off and they can't. Juan, thank you for the super chat. I'm going to look for your question. Joe with a super. How are you doing? I'm doing good, thank you. Who do you trust this week, Disley, Tunyon, or Evan Ingram? Probably Disley, but Evan Ingram and Disley are very, very close. Joe, thank you for your super chat. This is from Skylar. 14-man, 2-3, Brady, Damian Pierce, Ramondre, Etienne, Eno, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Jameson Williams, Corey Davis, Dotson. Okay. What is this here? RSKP for what are we doing? TB12 DP RSKP for Hertz, Brees, and Akers. Okay, so I think these are your team, so I think I can find them up here. So Damian Pierce, RS is Ramondre Stevenson, KP is KP Keenan. Did you mean to put KA Keenan Allen KP? I don't see a KP. Oh, you guys and your abbreviations. I'm pretty sure you mean Keenan Allen. So the question is Tom Brady, Damian Pierce, Ramondre Stevenson, and Keenan Allen, I believe, for Hertz, Brees, and Akers. I'm going to take Hertz and yes, I'm going to take Hertz and Brees on this one pretty easily, assuming that's Keenan Allen. Appreciate you, Skylar, for the super chat. Thank you very much. Goff, Prescott, Swift, Pierce, Stevenson, Etienne, Chase, Evans. Need to trade with injuries on the bye. I mean, it's such a vague question. I would say because your running backs are stacked, you could potentially... your wide receivers are good too, though, bro. I don't know that I'm trading because of buys. You're going to have bye weeks no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get you want to trade out of the bye, but you got to wait for bye weeks to occur. This is the first week of buys for you to even like get into players that have already had their bye. So you're just kicking the can down the road, which I don't know that I do in your case because you're going to come back strong. If you trade some of these guys on a bye, then you're just gonna face it again. I think I probably just roll with what you got. I like your team. I don't think you got any sell highs that are worth selling. I think you got to wait for Swift to gain value. Pierce, you could sell high, I suppose, but it depends if you could get a JT or something in some kind of bigger deal. I don't trade Chase on the low. I don't trade ETN before his value's gained. I don't trade Stevenson before his value's gained. Evans, I guess I'd trade if the price is right, but I'm standing firm with this team more than I'm trying to trade out of it. These are all players I like. I wouldn't mind getting a better quarterback. You could go after a Burrow using an Everett or someone like that potentially, if that gets it done, or Curtis Samuel and Goff for a Burrow. I try and get a Burrow on the cheap and Aaron Rodgers on the cheap. I don't mind Goff. You could keep Goff. He's been playing well. But that's the only thing I'm looking to do with that team. I'm not trading out of those buys. You got good firepower once Pierce and Swift come back. Sent Lamb for Brown, then paired Jameson for Diggs. I assume that is Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown, and then paired him with Jameson for Diggs. That's an absolute smash. Lamb, I don't know that I would have traded Lamb for Hollywood Brown, though. It was like you made a bad trade there to turn it into Diggs, which is fantastic. I don't know. I'm confused.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Somehow it worked out and you got Smitty approved, but that definitely had a strange path to victory there. James, appreciate your super chat. Should trade Waddle, Eckler, and Higbee for Andrews and Jamar Chase. Waddle, Eckler, Higbee. Waddle, Eckler, Higbee for Andrews, Jamar Chase. I'd probably keep the Eckler-Waddle side. Waddle, Eckler, Higbee, Andrews, Jamar Chase. Yeah, I'm going to keep that Waddle-Eckler side. It's close enough to like argue, but I think that at the end of the day, you break it down and that's the much better side. No question. Just wanted to take a victory lap for trading Naji and Andrews away for Barkley and JJ before the season started.
You've just been Smitty approved.
That's not to disrespect Andrews, because he's a great part, but obviously you smashed on that trade, Travis. You can take your victory lap. You deserve it. Whiteboard from Jared. Jared, appreciate the $10.
Let's go, mashed potatoes.
Yep. Jared dropping the super. Jared wants a whiteboard. I can only flex one arm while I'm doing the whiteboard, bro. But we'll do what we can. Jared says Kirk Cousins, Mixon, Ramondre, Mixon, Stevenson, Wilson, Etienne, Waddle, Pittman, Gabe Davis. Waddle, Pittman, Gabe Davis. Waddle, Pittman, Gabe. Sean Watson waiting on IR. So, I mean, honestly, bro, I don't know what you can do. This team's a little bit rougher than the other ones you've shown me. Waddle and Pittman and Gabe Davis are very decent wide receivers. You must have lost like Devonte or something. Mixon and Ramondre, I like Ramondre a lot, but Mixon is a tough sell right now. You kind of got to hold him. You don't have a lot of firepower to trade away unless you're going to trade away like Wilson Jr. and like Waddle to upgrade into a slightly better wide receiver, or Kirk and Wilson for potentially like Kirk and Wilson. Could you get Kenneth Walker? Probably not, but could you try? Sure. Could you try and get an Aaron Jones? Probably won't get it, but you can try. I would try Wilson and Kirk for those type of players. MT might be a good addition. So if you traded Kirk, MT, and Wilson, Jeff Wilson, all for like an A. Jones. MT and Kirk. So Wilson, MT, Kirk for like an Aaron Jones, for a Walker, for something like that. That's probably the only move I can see with that team, bro. At this moment, anyway. Appreciate your super chat. 4-1, 18 PPR. Hall, Ramondre, ETN, Madison, Mostert, JJ Diggs, Devonte Adams, Mike Williams, Kirk. Trade Devonte for JT straight up. I probably would take JT straight up, especially with the threat. I mean, we don't know if he's going to get suspended a game, but kind of feel like he's going to get at least one game. But Tony, the attorney, just came on and told you that. I can't guarantee it's going to happen. 338 thumbs up, which is very respectable. I'm not complaining. But 450 eyeballs still in here. Can you punch that thumb up button? Let's get those numbers to match. That would make my night. Trying to get Amon-Ra. Have Diggs, Higgins, Devontae, Aaron Jones, Ramondre, Walker, Melvin Gordon, Hunt. What should I offer? If you're trying to get Amon-Ra, you're probably going to have to give up a Higgins. If you give up Higgins, You can maybe give up Melvin Gordon or Hunt in addition to that. I don't know that that's going to work for Amon-Ra, but you could try. Are you better off going Ramondre Stevenson and potentially a Melvin Gordon? Maybe. Maybe that gets it done because you're going across position. Somebody needs an RB. I wouldn't trade Aaron Jones. I probably wouldn't trade Aaron Jones for him. I think that Aaron Jones is pretty valuable. I don't know. Maybe I would. What do you guys think? Amon-Ra or Aaron Jones? I just think in your situation, you have Ramondre and Walker, which I like, but I feel like Aaron Jones is a vital piece of your team. I don't know. Can we get a chat vote on this one? Would you rather have Amon-Ra or Aaron Jones in this guy's situation? Don't give up Diggs. Don't give up Walker. Amon-Ra. Solo Cup says Amon-Ra. Nico says Amon-Ra. St. Brown. It's just, it puts him in a tough running back situation. There you have it. Amon-Ra's across the board. I can't disagree with it. I think Aaron Jones is undervalued, but at the same time, the fair market value is in favor of Aaron Jones. He may not even do that. But like Stevenson and Hunt, I mean, I'll obviously try and give that first and keep Aaron Jones. But Stevenson could be better than Aaron Jones. I mean, you never know. It just depends on Bill Belichick. But that's probably where I'd go with that, I suppose. But I'd try and get rid of Higgins and Hunt and keep Aaron Jones and keep, obviously Diggs and those guys and Stevenson. I'd try that. Trade Sutton for Higgins. Yes. That's easy. Higgins all day. Appreciate you. Michael, I don't see a question, so I'm going to put you over here and try and find you later. Shoddy, Smitty, why are you down on Hollywood Brown? You think Hopkins is the wide receiver one? I don't think I'm down on Hollywood Brown. I think I just recognize that Hopkins is a big player coming back, man. So, yeah, I mean, I think Hopkins could be the number one, or they share it. So Hollywood could only go down, I think, because Kyler doesn't throw enough to really, I think, justify the usage of both constantly. Was this a good trade? Receive CeeDee Lamb, Breece Hall, and Disley for Tyreek Hill, Elliott, and Curtis Samuel. Yes, I like the Breece Hall and CeeDee side a lot more.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Sorry, my voice is usually shot about this time of the year, and it doesn't really come back. So I apologize if my voice is going out. My voice is completely shot. Brian says, thoughts on trading CMC or JT for Breece and Pierce. CMC or JT for Breece and Pierce. I would take Breece and Pierce over CMC. I would try and keep JT. Appreciate the super chat, Brian. Thank you very much. John says, trade Kyler Murray and Hopkins for Jamar Chase. I need more information than that, John. I mean, in general, I would say yeah, but if your quarterback's going to be somebody a lot lesser, then the answer is no. But that's a lot of talent, and I think Hopkins could be, very, very good. But I would rather have Jamar Chase. Love the show, man. Traded Naji plus Lazard for Aaron Jones. I submit approved that. As I said earlier, one of the better ways out of Naji is either A.J. Brown or a cross position to wide receiver, or you go get Kenneth Walker straight up, or you get Aaron Jones straight up. So absolutely love that in general. Congrats. Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt for Mike Williams and Josh Jacobs. I probably lean, honestly, right now, plus Christian Kirk, I probably lean toward the Jacobs side because he's playing great, and Mike Williams is still a big name. You get Kirk as well. Tyreek Hill worries me. And it doesn't worry me to the point where I'm just giving him away or something, but I feel like Jacobs is playing big enough, and you could even maybe sell high on Jacobs and get into another player that's even better than that. Not to say Jacobs isn't good. I'm just saying I wouldn't stop there. But I could go either way. I could go Tyreek Hill. I still think Tyreek Hill is you know. Okay, would you trade Sutton, Kirk, and Herbert for Eckler? Sutton, Kirk, and Herbert for Eckler. Depends on the quarterback situation, but I would say in general, absolutely.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Like if there's a super flex situation or, you know, that I don't know about, like I need to know that. But in general, absolutely take Eckler and smash. Absolute smash. Would you trade Sutton, Kirk, and Herbert for Eckler? Okay, got that one out of the way. This is from Mamba. Mamba says, Burrow, JT, Chubb, Stevenson, Hollywood, St. Brown, Kelsey. Thank you, Blackbeard, for that. Blackbeard's the best. Blackbeard is on top of stuff. He's just on top of it. Burrow, JT, Chubb, Stevenson, Hollywood, Brown, St. Brown, Kelsey, ETN, Dobbs, IR. Best moves. Honestly, bro, I don't think I'm moving anything. You've got exactly everything I would want on a team. The only thing I'm looking to maybe do, and I don't think you really can, is, you know, Curtis Samuel and Mike Thomas, Dobbs, Hollywood. You know, Curtis Samuel, Hollywood and MT, Stevenson and Hollywood, like upgrading maybe. You know, going and getting Stevenson and Hollywood for Breece Hall or something. Like, of course, I would do that. I would try and get Kenneth Walker. Stevenson and Hollywood might be too much for Kenneth Walker. I don't know. We don't really know what the difference between Kenneth Walker and Stevenson will be. I'd like to think that Kenny Walker could be a top 5 to 10 running back. I really think he's so talented. But, you know, we're jumping the gun expecting that, I think. But I think being hopeful of it is certainly in the cards. I would just use Stevenson and Hollywood to upgrade into one bigger running back. I certainly feel like you could go after a JT pretty easily. Or you have a JT. A Jamar Chase pretty easily using that combination. Stevenson and Hollywood for Jamar Chase. That would be a good move. That would leave you in a bind at running back, though, I suppose. ETN is good enough, I think. I think I'd roll with Chubb and ETN and go light at running back 2 or go risky running back 2 to get Jamar Chase in my lineup using Stevenson and Hollywood. But that's me. Some people might not do that trade. Past that, your team looks absolute fire, and I don't think you necessarily need to make any moves. Your team looks really, really good. You got a lot of depth. It's spread out very well, but I would probably go for a bigger gun using that, but I wouldn't trade those other components. It's a really good team. Trade away Mixon and Hollywood Brown for Cooper Kupp. Absolutely. I mean, that's just simple. That's as simple as it gets. Rhino, Curtis Samuel for Taysom, Pittman, Standard League in a heartbeat. Curtis Samuel, Kirk for Taysom and Pittman. I would do that. I like Pittman the most out of the wide receivers. Even though Kirk's balling out, I really like the idea of trading for Pittman on the low. Ozzy with a $5 hauler drop stash, running back for one wide receiver. Drop a stash, running back for one wide receiver. JJ bye next week. Pacheco, Warren, Henderson. I probably drop Henderson, and I probably pick up Elijah Moore, but I don't love those options. I suppose you could wait for next week. I don't love those options, but Elijah Moore is not horrible, actually, you know, preemptively. But yeah, I mean, I don't know that Henderson's going to be, I don't think I'm worried about dropping Henderson and picking up Elijah Moore now. I would do that now. JT Lamb and DK for Hunt, Amon-Ra, and Devonte. Woo! Devonte Adams, Amon-Ra, and Hunt for JT Lamb and DK. I guess give me JT Lamb and DK, but that's really close keys. You could easily argue either side of that. Easily. If I asked the chat, we'd have mixed reactions. We wouldn't have a landslide on either side, I don't think. Burrow, CMC, Kamara, Debo, Pittman, Disley, Dillon, Bench, Reynolds. How can you improve? I suppose Burrow, CMC, Kamara, Debo, Pittman. I like it. I don't think, I'm assuming that's Dameon Pierce. Maybe that's Alec Pierce. That might be Alec Pierce. I don't know that you need to make a trade. I wish I could tell you to make a trade, assuming that's Alec Pierce. If that's Dameon Pierce, you might be able to move him for something if you wanted to, but I don't know that I would. I think I'd just ride this team out. I like Dillon where he's at. You're not going to get what you wanted at Dillon. Disley's decent. Pittman, Debo, Kamara, CMC, Burrow. I like all those guys. Would I trade CMC in for two players, if I was getting, two players I loved, maybe, but it's hard to even imagine what that would be. I suppose you could get like a Breece Hall and AJ Brown or something for CMC. I would do it, but you might have a tough time getting Breece Hall for CMC straight up. It just depends on the Breece Hall owner, because everybody treats Breece Hall differently, but that's a really good team. J Max with a super chat. Trade my Swift and D Hopkins for Jonathan Taylor. I probably would, but that's close. Swift and D Hop is pretty good value. So you could argue either side, but I probably would roll with JT. Love the show, man. Ready to trade my 2023 first. I'm competing, so it should be a late first. Trade the first in J-Rob for Breece or Walker. I would take Breece, then I would take Walker, but I would smash either one of those trades, absolutely. Easy call. Jaime with the $5 holler. Thoughts on Hollywood rest of season? I like them, but I would definitely start shopping them because I feel like Hopkins coming back will hurt him a little bit. The Jamar owners being stubborn, okay. I like Higgins straight up for him, potentially. I like, I suppose, A.J. Brown is somebody you might have to give up a little bit more, or maybe you could get straight up. Those would be the first two people I go after. Would you take Burrow, Higgins for Kelsey and Brandon Cooks? Probably rather have Kelsey and Brandon Cooks, assuming that I have a quarterback. If you have zero quarterback production, then it's something to consider, and it would just depend on that quarterback. It would be something to look at, though, if you had literally no quarterback play and you were losing bleeding points every week. Jamar for Sutton and Gordon. Bag secured Smitty. Jamar for Sutton and Gordon. Wow.
You've just been Smitty.
King 25 code 428. Dispatch Vito Popo. Popo has been dispatched. King 25 out.
The sorcerer of the day is Magic Man.
Oh. So here it is. Jamar for Sutton and Gordon. That's probably the best one of the day. Sorry guys, I think he got bumped off. That's a phenomenal one. All right, good job, Ryan. Ryan dropping a massive trade on the screen there. That's unbelievable. Trade in Njoku, Jeff Wilson, Walker for Andrews. That's tough because I love Walker, bro. I love Walker. Kenneth Walker, it's a tough one. I'd probably lean Andrews, but that's a really, really tough one, and I could go either way. I could excite myself and amp myself up for a Walker side of that, but
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
This one is from Work for What You Want. 0.5, 3 and 2 got offered Derrick Henry, Kirk, Deontay Johnson for Ramondre, CD, and Hollywood. So you were offered Henry, Kirk, and Deontay. I would take the Henry side over Ramondre, CD, and Hollywood. I would look to shop Henry, but Henry's got more value. He canceled it. He sent it and canceled it. Henry, Higgins, Deontay. Would you take either? He sent and canceled Henry, Higgins, Deontay. Henry, Higgins, Deontay. I'd rather have Henry, Higgins, and Deontay. I'd rather have Higgins over Kirk. You can make the argument, but I'd rather have Higgins over Kirk. Appreciate that. David with a super chat. Throw one and start the other two. Throw one. Pearson, Walker, and then I'm not throwing Mixon, but I'm trading him. That's rest of season, though, obviously, because Pierce is on a bye. But I'd say Pearson, Walker, and then you trade Mixon. I would definitely trade him. Don't cut him or anything, but I hear what you're saying. No advice. I just wanted to say I like your streaming format versus other fantasy streams. Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate you. You to the moon.
To the moon.
You to the moon, young man. Thank you, Jordan. Dilly says, got offered CMC for JT plus Metcalf or Devonte Smith. CMC for JT and Metcalf. I take JT and Metcalf and smash it. Smash it, bro. Like, fast.
You've just been...
Like, really fast. Drew. Lost Javonte, so I need a running back help. I can trade Chase and McLaurin for Higgins and Kamara. Yeah, I would take Higgins and Kamara, I would pull the trigger on that. I mean, it's arguable, but I would do it. I would definitely pull the trigger on that. Rock out. Check your IG DM. Let's see here. Rock out.
Holla back, he be going shine, running in the end zone, touchdown, he be going shine it out, he be your favorite candy, like a Reese's Pieces, every time he get in, and this is how we get in, we gotta get on the grind, it's Brees Hall season.
Thank you, Rock Out. I love that rendition.
Hey, Smitty, people didn't have much of an issue with the trade as I thought. Because once I brought it up, people didn't really want to do a vote. And they said, just let it ride. So I got Alvin Kamara for my feeling.
Oh, man. Alvin Kamara for Thielen. That's probably the sorcerer of the day. Rock Out. That probably is the sorcerer of the day. Let's put Rock Out on there. Let's see. Thielen. Let me edit this because he didn't send that. But Thielen for, what was it again?
Next week I should have Smitty. People didn't really want to do a vote, and they said just let it ride. So I got Alvin Kamara for my feeling.
Okay, Alvin Kamara for Thielen. That's a phenomenal trade. That's got to be the sorcerer of the day, I think, or one of them.
The sorcerer of the day is Magic Man.
Probably tied. You guys are probably tied, I would say. Definitely tied. Okay. Alex, Everett or Pitts this week? I mean, Pitts is banged up, so Everett for now, but you could swap out Pitts if he looks good to go or something like that. But I think still Everett's safer until Pitts proves himself or until the situation changes. I hate my league. Tried to trade for Henry, Godwin, and Hall for A.J. Brown and Pierce and Cook, and the dude traded him for Fournette, Cooper, and the Bucks. Oh, God. That's the worst when you're offering a better deal. Appreciate your super chat, Steele, and your story. We might have the story of the day as well, and that would have won the story of the day. A 4-1 Hurts, Cup, Godwin, Monty, Amari, Rondell, Swift, Jamal. Okay. Trade Amari for CEH. Yeah, I mean, look, CEH is scoring, and I know he had a touchdown call back last week, and so he still was doing well. I don't love Amari Cooper. Honestly, I think he's inconsistent. I'd rather take the chance on Clyde. Plus, you can package Clyde with like Godwin and maybe get one better player. So I think it maybe leads you down a road where you can get a little bit more. Best trade for Chase, Pierce, and MT, Stevenson, Naji. I'd trade Naji straight up for him. I would trade Naji and MT for Chase and something. Get something small back. I wouldn't trade Pierce or Stevenson if at all possible. But I would trade Naji in a heartbeat for Chase. If I've got to give up MT, I'm probably still doing that. I just try and get something back because, you don't want to give up way too much. Damn, where's my super chat? Steele said, Steele, I just answered it. I'm sorry it took so long. I get blasted some days, and I do my best, and I definitely take care of you, though. Thanks for the advice. Looking to rid of Waddle, offered Waddle and Higbee for Deebo Samuel. I don't mind that. I can be okay with that. I think Higbee is valuable to some people, and I'd rather get out of Waddle and get Deebo. So I Smitty approved that. Decimate, thank you for the super chat. 2 and 3. What move to make? QB Cousins, Chase, Higgins, Pittman, Metcalf, Pickens, Mixon, Hall, Dobbins. I'm trading Dobbins. I love Andrews. Dobbins and Dobbins and Metcalf for. I mean, could you trade Dobbins and Metcalf for a top 3 wide receiver? Could you get a Diggs? Dobbins and Metcalf should get you Diggs. Dobbins and Higgins should get you Diggs. Mixon and Dobbins get you JT. Mixon and Metcalf get you JT. Those are some options. Okay. We're getting closer here. Could swap Hollywood Brown for Chase. Got to get a running back, though. Yeah. If you could swap Hollywood Brown for... You get Chase instead of Hollywood Brown? That would be unbelievable. Mark Cleveland with a $10 holler.
To the moon.
Mark Cleveland in the house. Mark says, I got an offer, Chubb for A.J. Brown and Olave. So you get Chubb for your A.J. Brown and Olave, and I know that that's the way you're saying. Yeah, I would take Chubb in a heartbeat. I thought about a counteroffer sending my Dillon, Olave, and Dobbs. You're not going to get Chubb for Dobbs, Olave, and Dillon, and you're maybe going to drive the trade away. Mark, just take Nick Chubb. He's blowing up, bro. Just take Nick Chubb. Smitty approved. I wouldn't even mess around with that. You're countering back with one of those, one of these offers right here. Your counter would be this.
You are offer sex. You are trade offer sex.
I just don't want you to miss out on getting Chubb because you're trying to take him for a little spin. Full PPR, I can only have 3 wide receivers and 3 running backs playing IDP, so it's tough. What can I do? Lamar, Swift, Connor, AJ Dillon, Jeff Wilson, Mike Evans, Cooper. Cooper, Jeff Wilson for one player. Amari Cooper, Jeff Wilson for AJ Brown. Jeff Wilson and Evans for an upgrade into a Diggs. Connor and Jeff Wilson for one running back that's a little bit more, safer. I know you got A.J. Dillon, but I'd take Aaron Jones over Connor and Jeff Wilson. Amari Cooper and Connor for Kenneth Walker. Amari Cooper and Jeff Wilson for Kenneth Walker. Those are all things I'd be just trying to get left and right. All those buy low guys we've been talking about, and they're rising fast, so you're not going to probably be able to get Walker. Walker's hard to get, but you're not going to get him next week if he blows up this week. Trade Higbee or Kittle for Pittman. I would trade either one for Pittman. I'd try to keep Higbee, I guess, but I'd trade either one for Pittman, bro. And I'd do it live. Reese with a $5 hauler. I'm back for your opinion. Can you show me a small list of wide receivers that I should trade for? Also, would you trade Hopkins and Godwin for Andrews? I would trade Hopkins and Godwin for Andrews in a millisecond. Buy low wide receivers, I'll just tell you. Jamar Chase, Michael Pittman, T. Higgins are probably the 3 best wide receivers to go get right now via trade. Those are probably my top go get wide receivers via trade. Past that, I think, let's see. I can pull up a list real quickly. I would say wide receivers to go get. A.J. Brown, maybe, Pittman, Higgins, A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase are probably my top go-to buy low wide receivers right now, walking into week 6 of the season. Reese with another $10 hauler. Reese to the moon.
To the moon.
Reese, my boy. Hurts, Devonte Smith, Godwin, Barkley, Kenneth Walker, Pitts, Kirk, Rashad White, Judy, Hopkins, Kadarius Toney, Geno Smith, Ingram, and Swift. That's your team. Can you show me a small list of wide receivers to trade for? Would you trade D-Hop and Godwin for Andrews? So D-Hop, is this the same team? D-Hop and Godwin, yes, for Andrews. I would smash that, number 1. Number 2, wide receiver-wise, Godwin and maybe Judy. And I don't know if anybody's looking for 2 wide receivers. I love that you have Swift down there too. Godwin and Kirk. Godwin and Judy. And you got Walker too. You got a phenomenal team. Barkley, Walker, Swift, Hurts. Yeah, wide receiver. Go after Jamar Chase. Go after A.J. Brown. Those are the 2 wide receivers that I'm going after if I'm you, and I'm using Godwin and Kirk to get one of them. I'm using Hopkins and Godwin to get Deebo Samuel. I'm using Hopkins and Godwin to get Diggs, Jamar Chase, and I think you can combine 2 of them to get one. Just go to those teams and see which one, Deebo, Chase, A.J. Brown. See if one of those guys is thin at wide receiver and could use the 2. You could throw Pitts in since you already have your tight end spot covered. If you make that Andrews trade, actually you don't have Andrews yet. But Ingram's okay. I'd probably rather trade Ingram. Keep Pitts. Don't sell Pitts low. But Kirk, Judy, and Hopkins all for 1 wide receiver. I'd trade all 3. And trading 2 wide receivers for 1 is not the easiest move. Steele, I didn't miss your super chat. I think you sent this a little while ago, but I definitely took care of you. Hall and Keenan for Diggs. I'd rather have Diggs, but barely. I love Breece Hall. Darren with the super chat. Nothing's attached. I'll try and go find your question. John with the $10 hauler. John to the moon.
To the moon.
John says 4-1, 12 team. Kyler, Murray, Eckler, Pierce, Jacobs, B. Cooks, Amari Cooper, Higbee, bench. Moore, Lazard, Mooney, Boone, Rashad White, lost Javonte. Thoughts on improvements. Jacobs on the high for a wide receiver only because you were covered with Eckler and Pierce. Not saying to sell Jacobs low, but if Jacobs could go get you a Debo, if he could go get you a Diggs, even if you gave Jacobs and potentially a Boone, or Jacobs and maybe a Jacobs and DJ Moore for a Diggs, Jamar Chase for Jacobs straight up you could probably get that done. Pretty easy maneuver for you, John. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 wide receivers from Debo to Diggs to Adams. Adams, maybe. You're 4-1. Adams, John. Trade Jacobs for Adams because the owner's going to be worried about start spreading the video around of my live stream talking about it could potentially get a 1 game. See if you can get him to panic a little bit. And I'm not saying that in a deceptive way. I do believe Adams will get a game. And you can wait. You're 4-1. That might be a good move for you. Although, if you don't want to wait, you don't want to take a bye week L and then get a suspension L. I could see you not wanting to do that. Maybe you could go those other routes. Maybe try the other routes. Amari Cooper and Jacobs for Diggs. It's possible. Even like an A.J. Brown and something, maybe. Maybe you could get A.J. Brown and Pittman or something like that. Or A.J. Brown and A.J. Dillon for your Jacobs. Traded away Olave. Thank you for the super chat, John. Your $10 hauler, John. John.
To the moon.
Boy, John. O.J. Simpson's back. If the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit. Traded away Olave and Hunt for Stevenson. I don't mind that. You could argue Olave's undervalued because he got injured and people are forgetting how good he is. But I do like Stevenson. Also, Amon-Ra St. Brown for Hall in a different league. I could argue either side on that. I think some might even like Amon-Ra more, a little bit more than Hall, but I like them about the same, and I think that those are okay. I don't think you got taken on any of those trades or anything. I think they're arguable on both sides of the fence, though, which is always, it's nice to know you didn't get taken. CEH and B. Cooks for Mixon. That's a gamble I'm willing to take. That's a good buy low situation for Mixon. I like that. He countered Ayuk and Zay Jones and Taysom Hill for Kirk and Samuel. I don't know. I'm just not, why? This is a trade I just don't, it makes both of you worse. Rhino? I'm about getting something, I don't know. He countered with Ayuk and Zay Jones. Taysom, I don't know. If you need a tight end, Taysom's the better side. If you don't need a tight end, then I guess Kirk, but depending on what you need. Kirk would be okay if you need a tight end. How do I leave a voicemail? Should I start Edwards against the Bills or Pittman against the Jaguars? I'm not benching Pittman, bro. I'm not benching Pittman. Appreciate you, Juan, with the super chat. Next super chat is from Divine. Michael. Michael, I did answer your super chat. Okay, good. Thank you for super chatting again. I know you sent the first one and then you didn't attach a question, but did you already go over my super chat? I did. Hopefully, Michael, did you see that? I hope you did. Sorry, we had so many super chats. We're down. Cheeseburger. I got the cheeseburgers. Darren said, would you drop Akers for Bateman, Alec Pierce, or Dobbs? I probably wouldn't, and I'd probably try and trade Akers in a deal still. I think Akers has a little bit more trade value than that. So thank you, Ochoa, Divine, and Cheese. Appreciate you guys dropping that super chat. I just had to find your question. these two super chats right here. Matt says 4-1 right now. Trade Diggs, Ramondre for A.J. Brown and JT. Take A.J. Brown and JT and run. Absolute run.
You've just been smitten.
I don't know if we'll call the Popo on that one, but I think that's a really good steal. Smitty, great show. Thank you. Appreciate you. Trade my D. Hopkins for Kenny Walker. Go get Kenny Walker right now. Absolute smash. Voice messages. This is from Rockout.
Amon-Ra and Swift as my RB 1 and 2.
That's good, bro. I'm glad that worked out for you. Voicemail group number 1. Let's see here.
Hey, Smitty. Good call on the Taysom Hill prediction. I ended up getting lucky enough to pick him up in my league this week and was curious. I plan on playing him this week over Kittle, who plays Atlanta, but wanted just to confirm that's a good choice with you.
Yeah. I'm starting Taysom Hill over Kittle, and congrats on picking him up. You should have had him beforehand. Only been promoting it all the last week or two, or all off-season best ball for sure. Victor.
Yo, Smitty, what's up? Victor here.
Victor.
Who should I start on flex this week? Travis Etienne or Brian Robinson?
Etienne for me, Victor. Michael Payne.
Hey, Smitty, I was able to pick up Chase and A.J. Dillon for A.J. Brown and Khalil Herbert. So, was that Smitty approved?
Smash. Michael Payne again.
Also, I picked up Hill, so I want to know, should I play Taysom Hill or should I keep going with Zach Ertz? What do you think?
Taysom Hill for me. I'm riding the wave.
Hey, what's up, Smitty? It's me again, your homeboy, the voicemail king, coming on here in these rookie Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, Taysom Hill season, and yeah, I'm rolling Taysom Hill, baby. Because here's what I'm thinking. Outside of Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce, the tight end position is a complete crap wasteland. And, like, Taysom Hill's floor is what?
This is why we call him the voicemail king. He won't stop.
So, like, what I'm saying is you just got to ride that Taysom Hill, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall train.
Warning. Finish him.
Freaking moon, baby. Let's go.
Finish him.
We got to cut him off at some point. You can only go so far. James Conklin.
Hey, Smitty, just gonna drop a quick one. Don't you hate when people put their whole team on the trade block and then don't respond to trades? Quality trades. Like, you're taking an L, but the player that you want is even better than the L perceived value, right? So, yeah, just thought I'd put that out there.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
But I guess some people just want attention and never got hugged by their moms.
Yeah, some people didn't get hugged by their moms. I guess they just want, like, every opportunity to make a trade, so they put everybody on the trade block. But that is annoying.
Hey, Smitty. Tomlin said that Jalen Warren's going to get more snaps. How more scared should Naji Harris owners be, and should we be picking up Jalen Warren?
You definitely need to own. He's a must-own. You should already own him. Take a lap for not owning. But you should be trading him away aggressively. All right, go watch my Naji Harris Panic Chamber segment, bro. I was offered Sanders for Walker. Should I accept that? You were offered Miles Sanders for Walker, AG? You were offered Miles Sanders for Walker?
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
No, bro. No, AG. Walker's worth more than that. Walker's a breakout candidate, bro. No. The answer is no.
Smitty, everywhere I'm seeing, everybody's getting really excited about Brandon Robinson. I'm thinking about it.
His name's Brian Robinson.
Robinson and Dobbs for Michael Pittman. Should I try that or should I hold Robinson?
I would take Pittman over Brian Robinson. His name's Brian, not Brandon. Appreciate you, my bro. You're my dude. Jim.
Hey, Smitty, it looks like Tua's going to be out and Bridgewater's going to be out again this week, so it's going to be Skylar Thompson. What's your thoughts on Jalen Waddle this week, and do you think he's going to be okay rest of season?
So I addressed that. Go watch the Panic Chamber segment, which is at the top of the show, or 3 hours in almost right now, so it's in the first 20 minutes or half hour. But
hey, Smitty, what's your thoughts on Josh Jacobs rest of season? He looks really, really good these last few weeks, and he's getting elite usage. Are you buying him for the rest of season as a top 10 or top 12 running back?
And Waddle I'm selling, just so you know. I'm definitely selling Waddle, but go watch that for further detail. Jacobs is playing great. You either hold Jacobs or you sell him high for a JT in some kind of deal because you're going to want to get max value for Jacobs. Doesn't mean I just don't believe in him or I'm saying he's not going to continue to do it, but it's always smart business to go looking for a potential buy situation, buy low, sell high. And I just think it's smart business to go do that. This one's from Austin.
Go, baby.
Go, baby.
Smitty, I just got it done. I ended up getting Stephon Diggs for Cortland Sutton, Brian Robinson, and ETN. Still got CMC, Barkley, AJ Dillon, and Raheem Mostert as my RBs. Let's go, baby.
Attaboy. Nice job. Nice job, broski. Thank you for all the voice messages. I think that does the voicemail segment. Let me just see if I have any. This one's from my Instagram exclusive members. Jack.
Hey, Smitty. Jack Salmon here. Just got one quick question for you.
Jackie boy.
Really appreciate all the help, too. You're an absolute guru.
Thank you.
But, yeah, I got Amon-Ra and Damian Pierce on bye this week. Luckily, I had Kenneth Walker. Thanks to you, who I'm throwing in there. But just trying to decide, do I start George Pickens or Curtis Samuel? Appreciate your thoughts.
That's a toss-up, bro. That's a toss-up. I'd say probably Pickens, but it's close.
All right, Smitty, so I just got offered Geno Smith.
Mainly because that Washington game is Thursday night. Thursday night games blow. So I'm going to say no on anything can happen, but give me the Pickens.
ETN and Mike Evans. Geno Smith, ETN, and Mike Evans for Cortland Sutton and DeAndre Swift. Desperately need a quarterback. All right, Smitty, so I just got offered Geno Smith, ETN, and Mike Evans for Cortland Sutton and DeAndre Swift. Desperately need a quarterback. Just saw that Tua is back at the facility, but doesn't know when he will be playing yet. What should I do, man? Get back at me. My current quarterback is T-Law. Right,
okay, if you got Trevor Lawrence, then I'm going to say keep Swift. ETN and Mike Evans for Swift and Sutton. What's the chat think on that one? Would you rather have T-Law is fine. T-Law, would you rather have T-Law, Swift, and Sutton in your lineup, or would you rather have Mike Evans, ETN, and Geno Smith with T-Law to rotate between those quarterbacks? So only can start one quarterback. Do you guys like the Swift side of the trade or the Evans and ETN side? Let's help out our boy. Give him the best advice possible. Smitty, should I trade Herbert? Herbert, Naji, and Godwin for A.J. Brown, Kenneth Walker. Yes. I'd probably rather have A.J. Brown and Kenneth Walker, my guy. It sucks that you got to downgrade to Geno, but I probably would take that. Amon-Ra. Swift, probably Swift. I agree. I think Swift is the better side of that. Michael, thank you for the super chat. Faced a team that stacked Mahomes and Kelsey. Shaking my head. Isaac, what is this? Shaking my head. Thank you, Isaac. Appreciate you. This one's from Isaac as well. 1-4, held on to Stafford too long, and then Goff last week. Team is now Geno, Brees, Melvin, Tyreek, Chase, Higbee, Godwin, Hunt. Benches Deontay, Curtis, Reynolds, Taysom Hill. Trade who for running back 1 and 2? I don't know that you have a lot to sell high. I don't know that I want to trade Brees Hall if I'm you, but you might have to just take offers. But, I mean, don't accept anything. Tyreek, I suppose, trade who for running back 1 and 2? I mean, Brees Hall is your running back 1, essentially, bro. And I'm fine with that. Don't be scared of that. Melvin and, I mean, maybe you could trade like Deontay and Higbee for like an Aaron Jones. Maybe you could trade Hunt and Higbee for an Aaron Jones. Maybe you could trade, maybe without touching Tyreek, you could make that trade. And maybe you could trade Tyreek for Aaron Jones and Pittman, or Tyreek for an Aaron Jones and like Higgins. You know, those are the best things. Otherwise, Deontay and Hunt for like an Aaron Jones on the cheap, or Deontay and Hunt for a Walker. Maybe the Kenneth Walker owner sleeping at the wheel. You know, make an attempt at Kenneth Walker without using Hill, and then use Hill later if you need to. Hill for JT, you know, I do straight up. Lamar Jackson, Kirk Cousins. Appreciate your super chats, by the way, my guy. Lamar Jackson, Kirk Cousins, Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, JJ, DK, Ertz, Pittman. Like your team, Debo. Wow. I also have Javonte Williams. Any improvements? Superflex, 2 tight. Okay. Lamar, Kirk Cousins, that's fine. 2 tight ends. Okay, Breece Hall, Cooks, Dalvin Cook, JJ, DK, Ertz, and Njoku, Debo. No, man, Pittman, you got a great team. I don't think I touched this unless I'm trading. I assume you're saying also have Javonte, meaning that it's dynasty is my guess, because you still have them and you didn't cut them, is what you're saying. If you had them and you're just either way. I'll give you a little advice for both. London's got more value in Dynasty than he does in redraft, so you want to be a little more careful trading him. But Dalvin Cook, I would trade for JT. Would I trade London and Cook for JT? I'd even do that in Dynasty probably, because I want JT over Dalvin Cook. But I'd definitely do that in redraft, so that advice applies to both. I like Breece Hall over Dalvin Cook if you can make that happen. Past that, bro, I really like your team. I think you're sitting good. You got a good amount of depth. I like the players you have. Make sure Taysom Hill's not on waivers. Go watch my waiver wire video. Don't leave anybody out there that should be picked up. Godwin, Stevenson plus Godwin or Olave for ETN. Stevenson plus Godwin or Olave. Godwin and Olave are close. I probably keep Olave, to be honest with you. I mean, Godwin's getting targeted a lot, but I don't trust him staying healthy. But I don't know. Etienne and Pittman. Stevenson and Olave. Or no, Stevenson and Godwin for Etienne and Pittman. I think I take Etienne and Pittman, but it's very arguable, NPR. That's very close. Drop Akers for Bateman or Dobbs. No, I'd try and... Oh, the deadline's past the trade. If the trade deadline's passed, I probably still keep Akers, but I keep Akers to trade him. And if the trade deadline is passed, which is I think is what you're saying, I think I still would rather have the upside, the potential of Akers than Bateman or anything like that. So I'm not super into the idea of keeping Bateman over Akers. Lamar, Kirk Cousins, I got that one. Okay, I think I got to all the super chats. I've been live for 3 hours. I think I'm going to bounce. Please hit the like button on your way out the door. We still got 350 people in here. I hate to leave with that many of you in here trying to consume content. Our likes actually exceeded our eyeballs. We got 359 in here, 396 liked. I'm live Monday through Friday. If you're new, please subscribe so you don't miss a live stream. I'm live Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We've been live for 3 straight hours off of today's 7 p.m. Eastern show. And I'm live whenever news breaks. That means if, let's say, something happens in a trade or an injury tomorrow afternoon before my 7 p.m. show, I just go live on my channel. If things are breaking and NFL news is Adams gets suspended a game, let's say, tomorrow, I go live on it. I'm your guy. I work for you. News breaks, I go live. I'm also live in the evening at least every other night. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, I'm typically live. Live streaming in the graveyard night shift, the midnight range. I'm always live. I work for you. I appreciate you. If I messed up, no Rumble live today. If I messed up and didn't answer one of your super chats, or you just want to ask me a question, my goal tonight is to answer every single question asked in my comments. So please put me to the test. 323 of you still watching. I want 323 comments when I'm done with this. Not in the live chat. In the comments section of the video. My goal is to answer every single one of you tonight. I'm going to make it my mission tonight to answer every question asked tonight before midnight. So when the video's over, if I missed you, ask me a question and I will do my very best 99.9% chance I'm going to answer your question. I'll see you all later.
You are offer sex. You are trade offer sex.